All right, it is 6 p.m. I'll go ahead and call this meeting of the Harmony CBD to order. We're trying a different audio setup. We have a central speakerphone here, so we're going to see how everyone in the room can hear our voices here and people on the phone. So if there's any issues with not being able to hear, please let us know. First, we have a auditor selection committee meeting before the regular CBD meeting. I'll start the roll call for that. Chairman Lee is here. Vice Chairman Chikanis here. Supervisor Phillips
Here.
Supervisor Cornell
Here.
Supervisor Williams is not here, but we do have 4 members for a quorum. Can we please have it quiet in the room? The meeting is underway. Can we please have it quiet in the room? The meeting is underway.
Yeah.
The meeting is underway. Are you able to hear us back there?
Please move forward. We got chairs right here.
I don't think they can hear us.
Okay. We have first the review and approval of audit documents. Lynn, if you want to go ahead and take it away.
So for the board's consideration is how we want to handle the audit documents. The biggest thing being here, if we scroll down to page 8, is if we want it based on price or not price. Our recommendation is always price. There's only a handful of auditors that do the audits for the CDD. So my recommendation would be to move forward with price. If not, we would just move the last 20 points around and give each category 5.
Is that how we've historically done it? I know the records have been easy.
Yeah, they can't hear us. They can't hear.
Right.
Okay.
Sorry, Joe. That said,
Like, please bear with us a minute. We'll get the microphones back on here. Yeah, Joe, just right there.
I'm sorry, I forgot it wasn't projecting.
Well, give me just a minute to switch the Zoom.
Hello?
Hello. I think he's still trying to get it changed.
Hello.
Hello. Okay.
All right, Mike, real quick, you hear us on Zoom and we can hear you?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay, I'm turning Mike up a little bit. Say that again, Mike, please.
I can hear you just fine.
Okay, you're coming in a bit soft. Try it one more time, please.
I can hear you well.
All right, thank you. All right, go. Let's go.
Lucas, did you say yes? Historically, it's been off of price?
No, I didn't say that.
I do. I was not able to find. Typically, we go out for audit every 3 years. So typically it's a 3-year contract. I was unable to locate those documents where that process was undertaken with Infomark. So with speaking with district council, this is how we do it for all of our districts. So this will be a 3-year contract, and it is typically, I would recommend price because that's the only thing that's going to decipher what vendors you get in is price.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I mean, the other criteria, just thinking of what's involved with an audit, I imagine it's going to be pretty consistent between any companies that professionally do this. So yes, price should be included.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I'm just wondering, since we've obviously had several conversations about how the record keeping has been really bad, is that going to, and there's some documents that we don't even have that you've not been able to access, is that going to make it any more challenging for the audit process?
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Okay.
I'll see what they request from me, and what I have to go back to Infomark from.
Okay.
So if there's no further discussion, could I have a motion to move forward with price?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And if there's no other items, I request a motion to adjourn the auditor selection committee.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, so we will now call the regular meeting to order. Do we need to take roll call again? I mean, we have.
Yeah, if you'll just
Okay.
state for the record, today is Thursday, November 20th.
At 6:04 p.m. Chairman Lee is here. Vice Chairman Chikanis.
Here.
Supervisor Phillips.
Here.
Supervisor Cornell.
Here.
Supervisor Williams is not here, but we have a quorum. Sorry, I got past my bookmarks here. First, we have audience comments. As usual, try and keep it to 3 minutes or less, please. And you can address the board on any items on the agenda or any other concerns you have.
Barbara Finazzo, 3353 Sagebrush Street. My favorite two topics. One of them, I'm happy to report that my ponds got sprayed this week. And I'm glad to see that there's a proposal in for the next steps, which I'm really, really happy about. And hopefully you guys could find some way to get us through to that stage. Sidewalks, I sent you all pictures of what they currently look like. They haven't changed in a month. Please move on with that. And then the ordinance for the Five Oaks or the county roads, when you talk about that, can you just clarify which vehicles would be prohibited and which vehicles would be allowed to be parked, just for my edification? Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, next, Carol.
Hi, Carol Castle, 3323 Schoolhouse Road. Couple of things. Number one, I'm hoping that that field services might be able to locate a trash can that is underutilized elsewhere in the community to be put under the pavilion on, no, it's not Schoolhouse there, it's Oak Glen Trail, where the new picnic table is there by Buck Lake on the east side there of the entrance to the Buck Lake parking lot. Also, something that the Nature and Animal Committee has been trying to get done is some trail signs on some of our trails. And I'm wondering if the CDD might be willing to foot the bill for just some posts and trail signs and stuff like that for the trails here in Harmony. That's a request. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other audience comments? Yeah.
Go Bills. Lanai Cacaveo, 3440 Sagebrush Street. We're well represented tonight. Two things, and I hope I don't forget either one of them. One of them is thank you for responding when I asked about the pool and what's going on with it. It would be good if there was another form of communication out to the community when there's something going on like that. I get a lot of questions in my community about what's going on with the pool, what's happening with this, that, the other thing. And I think that it can be improved. Somehow we need to get communication back to our residents when something, a major thing like the pool's broken, what's going on, what we can expect. So we don't bother you all the time to find out where we stand as far as when the pool's going to be fixed. So I appreciate your working on it. We're waiting anxiously. We're ready to go. But just some communication to the whole community would help. The second is I want to reiterate what Barb was talking about, the clarification on the parking on Five Oaks. I know someone is working along with the county to get the regulations or whatever you call them changed, the ordinances. Now there's a great big old trailer there full of trash or refuse. I don't know what it is. Every weekend, there's a new boat, there's a new trailer, there's a new RV, and it makes it dangerous, especially down at our end, coming out of South Lakes, to see around the corner. So it's a danger for us as well. I've seen many near collisions. We had the speed signs up. Those helped while they were up. Now they're gone again. People are back to their speeding. I don't think it's meant, well, I don't know where it is. It's somewhere down at our end. But having all those big vehicles there too and the trailers does not help with the safety situation. So please keep that on your radar. Please keep pushing for that.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments here in person? Or do we have any on Zoom? All right, seeing none, I will turn the meeting over to Lynn.
Thank you, Dan. First up, we have review of the meeting minutes of the October 23rd, 2025 Board of Supervisor meeting minutes. Any comments, questions, or edits to the minutes?
No.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And next up, we have review and acceptance of the fiscal year 2025 goals, objectives, and performance measures and standards report. I'm happy to report that we achieved all of our goals we set this year. So we're just looking for a motion to accept.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. And next up, we have discussion regarding the landowner notification from Florida Gas Transmission Company, LLC.
Yeah, Lynn, if you want, I can kind of introduce this item if that's okay.
Yes, please.
So and I don't have the history on this, but it appears that there's an easement that runs through district property that Florida Gas Transmission Company has. And anytime they're going to do work within that easement area, they're providing a notice to the community, to us, that they're going to be working in that area. It looks like they're going to be working in there in January. So really two reasons why I asked that this be placed on your agenda. Number one is I wanted the board to be aware of it and the public to be aware of it, that this work would be going on. And two, they're asking for a waiver of a 5-day notice before they come in to do the work, so that they don't have to send us a notice 5 days ahead of time. And given that they've already sent us a letter saying they're going to be doing the work on January 5th, it didn't seem like a big ask to me, so that they can get that box checked and so they don't forget about it. But that's up to the board to decide how you'd like to deal with it. But they do have the right to do the work under the easements. It's just do you want to waive the 5-day notice or not?
I mean, seems reasonable. Does waiving the 5-day notice period like open us up to any additional liabilities or anything that we might be like blatantly missing?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, they've already given us a potential date. We can, proactively get the word out that this work is going to happen most likely on that date, very subject to change and everything. But yeah, I don't see that we need to be sticklers about 5 days.
Yeah, I don't see either, but does it make much of a difference to them to just send us the 5-day? I mean, maybe I didn't understand right. Is this a for sure date in January that they're saying they're going to come on this date? So if it were to change, then they would send us another letter and let us know.
No, they're giving us an estimated date when they want to start. But if they didn't start for 2 weeks after that, that would be allowed under their easement document. And so again, I think the reason they're doing it, and I don't think it's a huge deal either way, whatever the board wants to do, but the reason they're doing it is to get a box checked before they come in here, so they don't come in here the day to start work and realize they didn't provide the 5-day notice.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they got to go back. It's their internal thing they're trying to take care of.
They're probably trying to get ahead of the holidays too. I mean, there's a lot of things that are closed down, so I think this is fine. My question is there any residents' homes impacted by what they're going to be doing?
It shouldn't be homes, but I believe that part of the maps that are included in your agenda package look like there was some work going in between homes.
Okay.
Right, like a lot behind Dark Sky. So we do have that CDD sidewalk along the side, but that's pretty far removed from where the actual pipes are. So I don't imagine.
But also, I mean, Mike says it's probably not a big deal either way. So does it hurt to just like get the 5-day so that we can let the residents know it's coming on this exact day? It's probably not going to make much of a difference to the gas company.
Yeah, well, it's at least 5 days. And so I would just suggest that, they might have to do another 5-day notice if they don't come on that exact day. So whatever you guys want to do, it's fine. It's not a big deal either way.
I mean, they're letting us know well over a month in advance of when they think they'll start, understanding that schedules might change. I'm fine with this serving as notification.
Yeah, me too. I think it's straightforward, but we should go ahead and vote on it. I mean, we're giving them access ahead of time. They're being proactive. Like it's right. They're still going to do the job no matter what.
They're going to do the job no matter what. So, but I don't think it. Like Mike said, if it's not a difference either way, I would say then just have them send us the 5-day so we know the exact day and then we can let the residents know. If it doesn't make a difference either way, then why not just get the heads up 5 days in advance?
All right, Joe, what is you're the swing vote, it seems like it might be.
I can't understand what you're all saying.
They want to know if Florida Gas says that they have to give a 5-day notice.
Right.
Are we okay waiving that? What Mike's saying is there's no.
They're giving us a month notice.
Yeah, I got it now.
Okay.
So I don't see any reason because we have no way to notify the residents anyway.
Yeah. So thinking about this 5-day notice that were to come in, it might be a Friday to start on a Wednesday or something like that. There'd still be lines of communication that would have to, be exercised to notify residents versus it's already here on the agenda in the public meeting. So we're already getting the word out. If it was a request to, for whatever reason, make their job paperwork easier, I'm fine with that.
Okay, let's take a vote. So a motion to move forward with waiving the 5-day.
I'll move that. Yeah. So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Here.
Motion passes. All right, next up, we have discussion regarding the holiday lights agreement with the HOA. Laura stating that the HOA does the Christmas lights every year. Is there anything that I need to be on or the alert for that you guys are concerned about, or is it just good for her to move forward?
It looks like they're up already, right? Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Moving on, we have discussion regarding the trash from the Halloween event. Lucas attended the Halloween event.
Yeah.
And I received pictures from Berman about the excess of trash that was left behind. So not as much discussion maybe about the Halloween event, but Kevin Shea wrote stating they're going to have a Christmas event.
Right.
I did speak with Berman. They are willing to move their employees hours later, but obviously that will take away from the community and our regular service.
I did see that email, and that's probably on us as CDD members for not saying that to the new management company and the new field service management. But I know that every time we had an event here with Infomark, they would just know when there's going to be an event. So yeah, the next morning they just pay extra close attention to that area. Now, I will say I've not seen, like, even at the last event, I didn't see like an exaggerated amount of trash, like a normal amount of trash after an event. And like I said, that was probably on us for not letting Berman know that we usually have field services come out on the next morning and just like pay extra close attention to that area. That's my thoughts. I don't think it's that big a deal. We'll just have to let Berman know.
Well, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about planning to have people there to come pick up trash after these large events. So there isn't trash just sitting there for a day or two and it's just scattered everywhere. But there's also a responsibility for the HOA to actually pick up the extra trash and bag it in the areas that Berman can come and pick up, because it was scattered everywhere and I had to pick it up. It was pretty disgusting. So yeah.
So my thought is, and yeah, we had this discussion last month about the whole, is the CDD involved at all in these events? And the extent of it was, these trash cans being picked up. So, and I don't think it's unreasonable that we want the HOA to be taking care of whatever trash is generated during these events. My question to Berman would be, is there a better way that it can be handled? Like, is there maybe some place that the HOA could, if there is an excess of garbage, bring it to where it would not be creating lots of extra work for field services to go around and clean up, and shift that responsibility to the HOA to get the garbage from one of these evening events to a place where field services can then take care of it?
What I want to ask Lucas is, it was trash everywhere. They just wasn't in bagged and ready for Berman to pick up, correct?
Yeah, no, it was just piled up around the trash can. It was scattered, through the fields a little bit. But yeah, people were just throwing it next to the trash can and it was just sitting there. So I went back and grabbed big trash bags and we picked it up and bagged it up. So that was at the end of the party too. Like, everyone was kind of leaving and stuff and it was just sitting there. So I doubt it would have gotten picked up if nobody took care of it.
Right. Berman would have found it the next morning and cleaned up the mess. So I don't think it's a problem of bagging the trash and leaving it there for Berman to pick it up. They're not doing their due diligence after hosting it.
I would not agree with that. And I was part of the cleanup crew. So I can tell you I bagged with the HOA several bags. So I would completely disagree that they're not doing their part. I would say that it's probably residents that are overfilling the trash cans, and then wind comes and gets gone over. And I'm sure it looked absolutely terrible this morning. And I will admit that I didn't go out there the next morning. So thank you to Lucas for doing that. But again, I think that probably fell on us on CDD members of not letting the new field service management company know, like, hey, after the events, it does tend to get a little bit, messy, dirty, and if we could have extra eyes there, I think that falls on us. I don't like, as a person who was there and helped clean up, I can say that they absolutely did not just leave trash everywhere and just say, oh, event's over, let's go home. This was a real communal effort to clean up.
Okay. Well, I was the one cleaning up at the end of the party, so
I was there too.
Okay. Let's move forward. Yeah, let's just plan on letting Berman know somehow that when these events happen, we need them to be present the next day to pick it up so it's not scattered everywhere. But if the HOA does not pick up their own trash, we need to do something about it and let them know that it's not okay.
Right. So I'd say that we want to be notified in the future if this continues to happen. If the other action would be if field services can be made aware of these dates, just to make sure that the garbage in the square is like one of the first things done that next morning, just so it's not sitting there any length of time.
Right. Well, which is what Infomark did. They would know based on when these common areas were reserved, they would know when to go the next day.
So we're going to leave the trash lay there all night and get blown by the wind and the rain and expect these guys to clean it up?
Well, if that happens and continues to happen.
See, I think it should be in bags that night.
Can I make one suggestion?
Yes.
Can we try something for this event, since I'm assuming Christmas is a big event, and maybe we shift staff that day, have them present? Not necessarily they can do other stuff, but at least right after we can then be on site and say, here is exactly how it was left when everybody left, and we can then make a decision, and we're there. We can clean it up if we need to, so you guys don't have to bag it, but we can also tell you in real time, this is what happened when they left the event. And then we would be able to, going forward, make a decision of, should we hold them accountable more? Should there be a cost associated to have somebody there cleaning it up, or should we give them a place to put it? But I think having us there in real time for the next one maybe gives a better picture.
Yeah.
Sure, as long as that's not too disruptive to
Yeah.
the rest of the work being done, absolutely.
No, they'll do other stuff while they're there and then be present at the end, be able to say, okay, these garbage cans are overflowing or there's garbage scattered. I just don't want to leave garbage all over the community all night.
Well, wouldn't it make sense also to maybe come by during the event, and if a can is overflowing, to change it at that time? Would that be possible?
We could do that. I'm just saying, how much do you guys want to do for them during the event, or do you just want to put it on them? They have to leave it clean, and we can tell you how they left it after by being there.
I don't
clean it
think
up.
we're asking.
But I'm happy to have them clean it during it.
I wasn't asking to have it clean, but the stuff put in bags, and then they could pick the bags up. But if they can come through during the event and even change out a can that's overflowing with a clean bag, that would be a huge difference there too, if they're going to be on the premises anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys are okay with that, maybe we test it out. We just see how it goes, having
Yeah.
somebody there. And if it's something that we know is absolutely necessary, then you guys can make a decision on moving forward if they have to
and
pay that
especially
cost instead of taking out of your time of what we're doing.
Well, and it's so much nicer for everyone if the trash is in the can or the
Right.
bin instead
Because
of
so much times
pick it
it's
up
just
off
that they're
the floor.
overflowing these trash
Right.
cans. That's really the issue. But so this is not going to cost us anything.
No, we'll shift like one of the positions that day in there, but then that's on you guys to decide going forward if you want to take away from field service time that they could be doing other stuff in the community to pick up trash. I guess my other comment would be, does the HOA, they don't have like, I know in other communities, sometimes they'll have like trash cans they keep for events that they could put out. So there's extra trash cans and then they would be emptying them. So it's
I think
not.
that's a fair suggestion. I think that's a fair suggestion, and they'll probably be more than willing to do that. I don't know why nobody's thought of that. That's a great idea, because that's really the issue, is that we don't have enough trash cans. But I would like to say, like, just to the rest of the board, I think that we should, and bear in mind, I have no affiliation to the HOA, not affiliated with the the social committee in any way, but I do think it's important for us to see them as a, not necessarily a part of the CDD, but we are really much working towards one common goal, which is the betterment of Harmony and the residents. So we should try as much as possible, as long as it's not costing us anything additional, to work with them, because they obviously work on a really volunteer and tiny budget.
Yeah, and it sounds like we have a we have a trial basis for the next event. So
Sounds
I think
great.
do we
Good
need to take
guys.
any motion or anything? I mean, we have direction.
Handled
So
direction.
excellent.
All right, next up, we have consideration of the parking ordinance for the Harmony CDD. As you guys will see, we have the map attached. The biggest is section 4 of the parking of all vehicles were prohibited in the times. So we're looking for final sign off to get this submitted.
Yeah, and
Right, they'd be on the agenda online. I just print out the front page for you guys. It's in the whole agenda
It's
packet.
basically all the county roads, all the main county roads.
Yeah, page looks like 50 of
50.
the agenda.
Page 50.
Right. It's
Yeah.
the square. Yeah, it's all the main boulevards, not the alleyways, not the roads within the HOAs. So the lakes, HOAs, but those are gated already, so not a concern there.
Mhm.
It's basically just any of the county roads, not county alleyways, through the neighborhood.
yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I could,
Yes.
can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, so section 4 is the only thing that's changed since you saw it last. The last version you saw had this paragraph about there were going to be no parking zones at any time. We took that out because it really wasn't the focus of the board discussion. But what we did say is the parking of any vehicle or trailer is prohibited within county right of way between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. However, that does not apply to passenger cars, pickup trucks with 4 wheels, dual rear wheel pickup trucks with a 1 ton or less load capacity, and motorcycles. So those vehicles would still be able to park between the hours of 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. And that was, as I understood the board's direction to be on this issue.
Perfect.
Yep, that
Sounds good to me. You gonna get a yes, no, it sounds good to rev it. All right.
Yep.
Get lots of
If we can get a motion for Mike to move forward as presented.
Can I just ask, I'm sorry, one thing. The signage it's county roads. Do we pay for that or does the county?
We have to pay
We
for the signs. It's in the proposal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The way it's written, it says that we left that issue open. Funding for the fabrication, installation, and maintenance of the signage shall be individually or collectively funded by the county, Harmony CDD, or the Harmony HOA. We'll leave that open right now. I'm pretty sure the county is going to say we're not paying for it, but it never hurts to ask.
Right. It would have been similar when we had the golf cart zone signs put in. That was also through the county with them setting it up. And I don't remember the exact detail of who paid for it, but that's, it's worth it if that's what it takes to get this done. So I'll move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have consideration of Resolution 2026-01, adopting amended budget for fiscal year 2025. So what this really does is just cleans up our budget on some of the line items that we went over. And the auditor likes to see a clean budget. So anything that typically is 10%, 10 to 15%, or $10,000 to $15,000, we move monies around to make the line item match what we actually spent. Some line items was the main increase for the district was district council, water, sewer, and sidewalks. Those were the line items that we moved funds around for. So no real action or action is required to clean this up, and then we have to post it to the website within 5 business days.
Why did you refer to it as fiscal year 2024/2025?
Because it was 24-25.
Yeah.
Now we're in 25-26.
It starts in September or
We've
October.
never referred to them with 2 years before. That's new to me because we're in fiscal year 2026 started on October.
Yeah, it's
1st.
we start in October of 2024 to 2025.
Right. No, I understand that, but I've never seen it
Right.
displayed that
That's
way
just how
before.
we.
Right. This
Okay.
is for last year after the fact, right? Yeah. Okay.
Everything else we have refers to it as fiscal year 2025. It started October 1st, 2024, but everywhere else in our records, it's FY to 2025. So I was just clarifying
Mhm.
So, but we can do it
Yep,
this way now.
it's most of 25.
I
right?
know, it's
Yep.
still
Yeah.
fiscal year. Yes.
Okay.
All right. So from now on, should we refer to all the fiscal year papers with two?
It doesn't matter, yeah.
Well, I think it should be official, shouldn't it?
No, it's either way. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter. If you guys only want me to call it one way, I will
Oh,
try
I
to do
didn't
my
know if
best,
there was
but
something. Yeah. Okay.
so if there's no further discussion, a motion to approve resolution 2026-01.
Second,
Uh,
or
I'll,
so moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Lucas.
Lynn was making the motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have consideration of the authorization to proceed with the sidewalk RFP. Do you want to kick it off, David, or? Okay, come on.
You get the mic from Samantha there? Oh. All right, there we go.
Thank you.
All right, good evening, everyone. So I guess I'll save everything else for district engineer. We're just going to talk about the sidewalks now. Okay. For those who may not be aware, they're newer to the board. Back in 2021, we undertook a detailed sidewalk inventory for the CDD community. Albeit the lakes was not 100% done, but the booklet that I gave you that's folded in half is what we produced exactly 4 years ago. We itemized 4-foot sidewalks, 5-foot sidewalks, 6-foot sidewalks, 8 and 10. And just for numbers, since we all like numbers, you had at that time roughly 20 miles of sidewalks throughout the community and hundreds of aprons, which is where the sidewalk terminates to the road. Many did not have the truncated domes for those who are sight impaired. A lot of those are missing. So this booklet is hard to see at night, but I'll give Lynn a current PDF version. You can zoom in your screen, look later. But when it was brought by my attention, you were thinking about doing an RFP for grinding. I mentioned to Lynn, if I can talk to you guys about maybe putting on pause for a second to update the study to identify the priority areas, because you have 20 miles of sidewalks, instead of kind of hotspots hopping around and just doing what you visually see. What we do a lot of times for cities and counties is we do an entire neighborhood. We have a handheld unit where we take pictures and location. We identify sidewalk cracks, root intrusion, busted curb and gutters, missing truncated domes. We color code that in a map. We try to hit the hot spots and then identify a 3 or 5 year sidewalk improvement program. So you can proceed forward if you want with the grinding, but I thought whether or not you want to consider it, we can flesh it in further detail in December, whether or not you want to consider, whether it's us or anybody. I'm not trying to sell our services. You can be another engineer, but to inventory or update the inventory for the entire community and have more of a logical expenditure of capital dollars over a couple of years instead of trying to bouncing around, always reacting to phone calls and things like that. So it's a quick overview. Any questions you all may have, I'm here to answer them.
So what you'll see in there is not just for sidewalk grinding, but for what we want is hopefully the district engineer to go out and pin those areas that, like he said, he can identify, and we can provide these vendors a definitive. So apples to apples, when a vendor submits the proposal, we know that they're all the same. We're not trying to decipher what the vendor did. They all have a plan. It's their job. If you look at, so the first item is the authorization for the sidewalk criteria. So how the bidders would be scored after we receive them is based on these categories. The first one being the attendance of a pre-proposal concert. While they can get the RFP, they would get 5 points if they met with us at a date and time that we would advertise. The vendors would come in person and we would walk the property. We would answer questions. It would be a thorough, they should know what they need. Then after they do their own inspection with hopefully David's map where it shows them these are what the areas we're looking for. Then we would do an RFP. We would send it to whoever does concrete sidewalks, and they would submit a sealed bid. So nobody is seeing them until we go and open them in a public space. So nobody's talking to whoever or getting the best, deal. And then the next would be the RFP to how we would start advertising to these vendors. So as you guys will recall, the amount of sidewalk complaints we get are through the roof, whether it's a sidewalk that's cracked, needs grinding, or we have sidewalks that are flooding and they need to be raised up, the elevation. I get multiple emails that Infomark said they were going to fix these sidewalks. I get new sidewalks complaints. So we haven't done any more with sidewalks. It's completely up to the board. My opinion, I believe your field services feels that an RFP would be the best to find out whether we do, like David said, we have this many areas that are hot spot for this year because we have funds this year. And then as we're budgeting for our second year, starting in April, we would know what to budget for. And if we wanted to put extra funds to spend a little bit more, we would have those numbers instead of just guessing and spending every time we turn around $10,000 to fix a couple sidewalks. That's all.
To piggyback on that, if you don't do a scope and you get all the vendors to walk it, you're not going to get a true comparison of fees. Some vendors may think there's 100 spots and some may think there's 50, and so you can't compare the costs. If you want to shortchange that, you can just say, give me a price for 100 locations and see what you get. But then you're still leaving up to them, not you all, on where they need to go. So it's just a way to inventory it better and stay on top of it.
Right. And talking about the root removal, which is one of our biggest problems out here at Harmony. So that's all I have.
Okay. And so comparing this to what was done 4 years ago, it would basically be redoing all that work, but with, taking the updated measurements of where there are problem areas.
So what was done 4 years ago, Dan, was just the inventory was out there. Now it's just to walk it and tag each location to put dots on the map that the vendors will get with a quantity for specific items.
Okay, but there's also more neighborhoods that weren't there.
Just the lakes.
Oh, okay.
So on average, what would you expect this to have changed over 4 years? Like if you had to give it a percentage?
So this was just inventory. It did not identify at the time the problem areas. They were just wanting to get a handle on CDD owned and private owned. So that's what, and when you get into it, I know it's small, we break out CDD, HOA and public. It's in the table. It's really hard to see. I'll give you the digital, but now is to take these maps, because you didn't build anything new other than the lakes. So it'd be quick to update that. And then it would be to walk these with a handheld unit, tag all the areas that are root intrusion, broken, the difference is too great for safety, to tag all those and get colored dots on the map. Then you do a scope of work, and that's how you do the RFP. Now, I may come back with the one area that's got tons of dots and other areas that don't. You would gravitate that towards your priority number one, and you can RFP that area based on your budget availability.
What if the vendors disagree with your analysis of those spots that doesn't need to be grinded or needs to be replaced, XYZ?
All cities and counties have a standard delta. I forget the distance, but whatever it is, it's standard throughout Florida. So listen, if we put an RFP and it's 3/4 of an inch, and by the time you could select somebody, it went up a little bit, or maybe a new one popped up. I mean,
this is still trying to introduce consistency to the process.
It's trying to get consistency and a true quantity. So you're all getting vendors pricing the same thing. So.
And as we found before, the biggest thing is them coming on site and mobilizing. So once they're here and mobilized, that's where we found a lot of our fees is having them keep coming back out. They added on an extra one for $500 last time because they were already mobilized here.
I guess my opinion is to section these. If we end up doing this, I don't know how much it's going to cost you, David, to go out and scope these, but I say we start with the problem areas around Schoolhouse and was it Five Oaks, where Those are the main issues with the large oak trees that are rooting into the sidewalks. Those are the main complaints that I've heard from the community. Most of the other areas are not as bad. I mean, we definitely need to address everything, but I think in the short sense is to
Focus on those first.
yeah. That's my
I
opinion.
completely agree. And I think that, I mean, again, I don't know what the cost would be to do this map or this extensive project, but I think that we know pretty well, not every single one, but we know pretty well what are the bad problem areas,
Okay.
Schoolhouse, Five Oaks. And so I think it makes more sense to allocate the resources to the known problem areas. And then we can request the RFP. So it is apples to apples. We can request the RFP to those specific streets that we're comparing apples to apples. And once we select a company, then I imagine at some point we could, without going through the RFP process again, maybe add to the scope of work if we needed to.
You can try to get a unit cost for different types of repairs.
Yeah.
If they do a great job and you're happy with them, then you can add to that scope of work and do a change order.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards that. Like, I'm leaning towards that only because A, we don't have to hold up the process already since it is such a big complaint and we've waited, a long time, and it's still going to be a long time in the making. So I'm going to lean towards, I agree with Lucas. I think it makes more sense to focus on those known problem areas and get that way we can get apples to apples RFPs with those numbers.
And then the other thing, David, is there's going to be some that need full replacements, right? And there's some that are going to be grinded down.
Right.
And I know some vendors don't do both of those, right? And so how would that work out with the RFP? Would they bid on only a portion of what they can do? Because I know the grinding company we had last time, I forget the exact name, I think it's Precision. They didn't replace slabs, right? So those people would have to be subbed out to another contractor, right?
So you can set it up if your bigger problem is the delta between the two slabs, that could be your base bid, and that bid alternate could be panel replacement, and they can sub that out on their team if they want to, or they can just not bid on it. But if your bigger problem is a tripping hazard, I mean, that you ought to be getting a lot of vendors to
We have some big ones that the roots need to be chopped off. The whole slab needs to be replaced. Like there's some big ones that are gonna, we're gonna need to be replaced. And I don't know if every company that is going to bid on grinding it can do that work, is what I'm saying.
Well, would it drastically reduce the pool if we specifically requested a company that can do both? Because we're going to need both. We're going to need a mix of it.
we can set a bid up that's in categories. And if you get lucky enough to have a couple of big firms that can do all of it, soup to nuts, great. But some may be really skilled and cheaper to do just grinding. So when we tag all these and I bring it back with all the color dots, we'll give the number of each and decide how we want to hit the street with to advertise for proposals.
So, excuse me. So, I'm not sure that I'm on the same wavelength as everyone, because I thought David was proposing to us that he scope it all out and then we decide from there what approach we want to take. But I'm getting the idea that you two only want him to scope out.
Well, I think
No,
phase one is the two roads. We can do eventually the remaining
Well,
side.
I mean, what would be the ballpark cost?
That was my question, was going to be referencing 4 years ago. I mean, not exactly, we're not going to hold you to it, but just ballpark when this was.
When I get back up here in about an hour, I'll give you a ballpark number.
Okay.
Oh,
I think that we had gotten a quote was that one of the main roads? And it was like 189,000 from,
I think they're talking about my fees. Are you good?
oh, that yours? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about David's fees for doing this work. And
Right.
the proposal was to basically update this map with all of the analysis to then make the decision. We're saying that, hey, we already know some of the problem areas, so we can reduce the scope of what David has to do right now and make that the focus of the RFPs. Is that a correct summary?
Yeah.
So we're only going to have David look at a couple streets that we think are the problem areas. Then what about the people like on Primrose Willow where it's so bad?
I think the idea,
And then they
Joe,
have
is,
to wait?
I think the idea, Joe, is if you guys agree that those are the two high priorities, phase two will do all the other streets with your permission. But
Either way, this is gonna have to be done in phases.
I
and-
know this, we're looking at probably 3 to 5 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I think we know the streets that are really bad.
So you just want him to measure 2 streets?
I
No.
don't even know, would you still be coming out to measure?
He's going
Well, he doesn't
to,
have the
he's
street.
going to evaluate each of the sidewalks and
For the
determine what,
RFP,
what
yeah.
needs to
we
have.
don't have to do
fix
the
them.
width, but we have to get the lip, because if
Yeah.
if it's below a certain number, you grind it. If it's above a certain number, you might replace it. I'm not going to redo the widths because they haven't changed.
Right.
So I know you're gonna have to grind 85 4-foot wide panels and 33 5-foot wide panels so you get.
No, I know. I guess I'm sorry. I didn't understand. So regardless, you have to come out and do that. It's not like we can have an RFP where we're letting these folks know, hey, this is the scope of work. We know we want to do Campfire 5 Oaks Schoolhouse. Go out and look at the job and tell us and come back with your RFP. So I'm getting that completely wrong.
We can, we absolutely can, but you're not gonna get apples to apples
Right.
because
If you, sorry to interrupt, but we kind of did that last year with what ended up being Precision, but we had Infomark at the time. They might have, I know the focus was on Caprior, and they did their own kind of inspections, field services, and we ended up getting a few bids, one from Precision, one from Infomark's own concrete, and it wasn't quite apples to apples. What David's proposing here, and we don't have to do that, but that's his, the recommendation is to using this as a guide where we already have quantified who owns it, how wide it is, and how long it is, to then add the detail of that it's not like he's going to be down here with calipers measuring everything. It sounds like you walk along the sidewalk to do it, right?
We have a stick that's already got paint marks on it. You just put it down, take a picture and move on. It's not.
Right, so it's
Right.
bending over.
And what he's proposing is to do that, to add that information to this map. So not only do we have the size of the sidewalks and who owns it, who's responsible for it, but also the level of work the level of disparity there, right? So when we get a bid, it's not Precision had their own criteria and Infomark had their own. It's to make it as consistent as possible, where they're all bidding against doing the same amount of work to hopefully get the same outcome.
And see, I'm kind of against just picking streets, because I would rather say we're going to do all the ones that have the roots and the 4 inches or whatever the words are, is what I was leaning towards. So there might be 10 on Primrose Willow and 72 on.
Have you walked down Schoolhouse Road?
Yeah, I live a block off. Have you been down Primrose Willow?
Not wild, but
Saying not
no, I
the
know.
Schoolhouse,
But there's
but-
mountaintops over there.
Go to 3338 Primrose Willow.
Okay.
We already hired someone to do that, and they did the wrong sidewalk, and now that guy's waiting another maybe 2 years.
Yeah, no, we've
That's why I'm
been on
not
top
saying
of that.
just pick streets. I think we need to.
Well, we can't do everything at once, so.
Okay, well, yeah, I'll wait for, we have a
Yeah.
sidebar going on here. Is you good, Brittany, or do we have?
Understand now.
Okay, so what are your thoughts? The way I see it, we don't have to utilize David. We can just say, here's the roads we want, here's the zones, or whatever our criteria is, and let the bids come in. There's the original proposal, which is completely updating the map. Or do we direct David to only direct a subset of the map that we right now feel, based on who we talk to, what roads we walk down ourselves, whatever, is the higher priority.
Well,
and then to follow up with that, what wasn't covered in the future.
the map's not going to update, right? You're going to go and analyze the sidewalks, right, and give your analysis on what
It'll be updated, Lucas.
Each spot.
the spots,
Lakes, that's it.
right? Oh,
Right.
the lake,
Yeah,
right.
because the North
Right.
Lake and the Enclave wasn't done at the
Okay.
time, and East Lake was under construction. So
There
they're
may not be CDD sidewalks once we categorize it, but
Okay,
right.
yeah, that's
So
a
when
different.
you do that, then are we going to get a map from you that shows where all the 4-inch gaps are and where all the 3-inch gaps are, the different levels of your measurements?
I know it's hard to see at this scale, but it's all color coded with different symbols. It'll identify the type of problem. Then you can rank or categorize them all and
So
quantify it.
we could conceivably then get an RFP for all the sidewalks that are, let's say,
Right.
4-inch. I don't know the names for the we could do the worst sidewalks with the RSP, not just the street,
Right.
if we wanted
If
to.
it's the board's direction for us to.
Is that
No, no.
physic, is that possible to do
Yeah, you
that?
can walk all 20 miles of it and then do the entire neighborhood. Or if you want to expedite the ones that are bad on a consensus, we'll do these two first and the remaining sidewalks can be done in the spring. I mean,
Well, we're not gonna get anything done before the spring, are we?
well, depending on what tonight goes,
Yeah,
we can walk into December and give you the first two streets and by January, you'll have maps to do an RFP. If you want to do all of it now, yeah, it's going to take longer than 30 days. So
So I guess my two things is how much is going to cost, David, and then this needs to happen quickly. We've been waiting to do this, and we have funds to do it now, so we need to pull the trigger on this. And I don't want to wait 2 months to get the RFPs out and all this stuff. So those are the two of my concerns that I'm facing.
I agree. So we can give David direction tonight to get his team out there, hopefully.
I'll go back to the table and run some rough numbers.
Okay.
And then you guys can decide when I go back for my.
Because then also where this leads me to, next year we have to start budgeting in April. If this is so successful, we do another RFP for our next phase. We put that in our budget for next year, and then we follow it moving forward. The next year we allocate more funds, and then every year we'll eventually be to a point where we can maintain sidewalks. They're not costing us 150,000.
so this RFP is just gonna be for one portion?
It is up to, we're waiting for your guys' direction.
But this
I
is,
thought you said we were gonna have an RFP for the whole kit and caboodle and then divide it up by years. Okay,
I would establish for you like a 5-year or 3-year program
right,
based on your budget needs, or
right,
your budget availability.
right.
So do we have to make a motion, Lynn? Yeah, make a motion.
yeah, if we,
So I'll make a motion to allow David to, well, go quantify how much cost it is for Schoolhouse Road and Five Oaks for the analysis of the sidewalk.
well,
Study.
I mean, I'm not seconding, we don't need to make a decision on that. If the engineering report is later in the meeting, he's going to.
Well, I think Joe wants another idea, so that's why I made a motion to specifically add the.
Yeah, but
two.
a motion is,
Could consider moving forward without knowing what the cost is.
yeah.
I didn't say that. I said.
Well, a motion is to actually take an action, and I don't think we're ready to do that yet.
Yeah, yeah.
But as a board, we need to identify what sidewalks we're going to replace. We're not going to do all of them at once. I mean, but Joe, are you on board with doing Schoolhouse Road and Five Oaks?
I would like to hear it.
Can we do, would it, the three main rows, I think, would be Capbriar, Schoolhouse, and Five Oaks. Can we?
Capbriar has been done.
No, it
No, it
needs,
was
it
just
needs a
changed.
lot of panels replaced. I mean,
Yeah, it didn't
a
have
lot.
panel
Okay.
replacement.
Well, the panels replaces, yeah, that's one thing. But as far as the other roads that need to be addressed first, I think are Schoolhouse and.
I would
and
say
Five Oaks.
equally. I think those three are equally. There's some of those panels are really bad and need to be, I mean,
Okay, we're adding more work. That's fine.
I'm not
But it's
against
going to
it.
delay getting
What-
things fixed quickly.
What I'm trying to say is Primrose Willow is just as bad, if not worse, than Schoolhouse and
You
Five
guys
Oaks.
also have funds in your bank account too. So
And so-
while everyone is priority is the sidewalks, we have to start tackling them. So
we're talking about it.
oh,
We're getting there.
no, but I was saying you guys do have the funds in the bank account to
Right,
handle
right.
your sidewalk,
Right.
but it's obviously a business decision for you guys.
Right. So how about this? David has already said he will sharpen his pencil, and while we talk about other things, come up with some numbers for us. The original proposal was to completely update the map, do the entire 20 miles, whatever it is. If we were talking about subdividing it, so we can tell them now, and we're not trying to give you so much that you can't get anything for us. If that's too much, okay. I've heard Schoolhouse, I've heard Primrose Willow, I've heard following up on Capbriar. Five Oaks.
Can we maybe have the cost of, just to compare what it would be to do everything, and then what it would be to do maybe 3 or 4 main streets.
But to do everything, that's going to take a long.
David's not going to be able to give you an estimate on everything.
Well,
A ballpark. Okay,
Okay.
yeah, that's fine.
Perfect. That's, and
Well,
that's,
that's a swag, but it's not gonna be exact.
I'll vote with you if you add Primrose Willow. Let me tell you a.
we can negotiate, let's negotiate those once we,
You didn't bring me any candy this time. I'm just
Just
kidding.
see, I got something in my purse. But,
I assume you need to know exactly what streets, right? Or we
Well-
can say like 3 to 4 big streets.
I got the big map. I'll do some
Okay.
big map.
Yeah, exactly.
It's either gonna be 50,000 or like 150. I mean, I'll give you the.
right, yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Oh, okay, okay.
It'll be a mil or 2 mil, one of the two.
All right, so we'll table this for now because we need to
yes. move on.
to deal with the scoring criteria. So next up, we will move on to the proposal for the sculpture repair with Centerline Production. Board will recall we had one of the original ones, which was I believe the 3,141. And then she came back with the second quote for the Florida natives for 4,500. So it was a total of $7,641 to repair both sculptures.
and we owe a huge thank you to Mr. Casey for this. He found the original artist. Because if you remember last spring, we had quotes on this and it was to the tune of 20-some thousand dollars. And he tracked down the original artist.
And as you are aware, they don't like working on each other's sculptures. So my thing would be that if this is something that interests the board, we move forward as presented.
Yeah.
Right. It was 20,000 and it was just for like sandblasting the whole thing. Maybe something that was appropriate for the big metal sculpture, but absolutely not for the more, artistic
Right.
pieces. So, I think this is, very
dunk.
easy. Yeah. I say that a lot and I was trying to think of something more clever.
And she
Yeah.
wasn't
Gotcha.
easy to find because I tried to look for her and he found her and I couldn't. So thank you. Yes, I move that we do that.
Motion by Joe.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
It hurts.
You have to maintain. Are you nay or yay?
Here, Joe, can you pass that down?
Motion passes.
Got fresh batteries in this one too.
Can
Next
I
up-
bring, oh, it's only 7. Can I just quickly bring up one other though? Do we want to put it back on our agenda for the spring, for the next budget, to get the red one done in the square here? And maybe you could find some other proposals for it that aren't as expensive.
Yeah, we can try.
I mean, is the rest of the board interested in getting that one fixed at some point? I mean, not this year, but out of next year?
I mean, it is fairly rusty. You go up close.
Well, we're
to
in
it.
danger of it coming down and being thrown out.
Right.
Is the issue.
I think it's worth at least putting the effort to see what saving it would cost.
Yeah, so if we get some bids on that, it's not something that we will do before next fiscal year, so.
Well, I guess, Lynn, do we have a line item for any of those in the budget?
I do not think so.
Okay.
So,
It'd be
So
like,
when we start the beginning of the year, I'm going to request to sit with each of you guys, me and Verona, and
Right,
get each of your guys' opinion even before the workshop. So
right,
So
we have a
Joe,
lot of
just-
budgeting.
yeah.
Yeah, Joe, just write that down so you can remember when we do budget.
Say what?
Just write that down for yourself as a reminder when we do budget.
Oh, I won't forget.
All right, so motion carried.
Sculpture.
Next up, we have ratification of the payment authorizations numbers 5 through 7. These have been approved and paid and just need to be ratified by the board.
so move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. And next up, we have a review of the district's financial statements through the month of October. No action is required, but of course, our team is happy to answer any questions the board may have. At this time, we've only spent 5% of our budget. Any questions of the board?
Yeah, I don't know if Verona's on the line. Okay, I mean, just what, as we're getting further further removed from the switchover. What's the feeling and just the status of picking things up from ARC, and any, I guess, discrepancies, things you're still nervous about, things that are still working on being clarified? Could we just get a kind of, hear all the numbers, but could we get maybe a little narrative of how the process has gone so far?
Verona? Maybe on mute.
Verona.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. So we have not gotten any supporting documents for the numbers that are in for last year. So for me, I am nervous for the audit that we're going to be doing. I'll be depending on Infomark to provide the supporting documents to support the numbers that they had. I can say in regards to certain areas that they look okay. For example, when I look at your sewer bill, water and sewer bill of last year, you spent over 100,000 more than what was budgeted for, which is a bit weird.
That's
I mean,
because
that's
of water
utilities.
line
Should
bill.
not be. Yeah, your water bill was significantly like 100,000 more than what was budgeted
I
for
can
last
explain
year.
that. I can explain that.
Okay.
That is from water, from the irrigation pipe breaks, and nobody has been contacting Toho to get that money refunded. Toho used to refund us when we had the irrigation breaks. And, you know, when our bills were thousands of dollars higher every month.
So the irrigation break and Toho needs to
people kick
refund that?
I'm sorry?
No, I'm trying to understand why Toho would need to refund damages that occur on the property.
They refunded us partially for the water that got wasted.
Not like every penny, but you
No.
know, we show the good faith in getting them repaired quickly. I haven't been involved as much of that myself, but there was at least some portion of it would be refunded when we brought these, you know, brought to their attention that, hey, this excessive bill here was because of such and such irrigation break, that here's us fixing it.
Right, and we had several breaks. We have every year a lot, but last year was particularly high. And unfortunately, I was tracking all of that and all my records are gone. So I don't know that we can go back to Toho at this point, but maybe going forward, we could keep an eye on that and request it.
Yeah, and another point to add there is when Nick came on in replacing all the irrigation, we had a whole bunch of old pipes that were breaking throughout the process, and geysers were just popping up left and right. So a lot of that was due to those things.
Okay. Okay. So that's good, because that's one of the questions I'm going to be asked by the auditors. So that information would be great for me to pass on to them. So those are the informations, because I am unaware of what took place last year, and they're unwilling to speak to me about what happened last year with the numbers. If a question comes up, I would have to reach out to Joe or Lucas or Dan for clarifications or assistance going forward especially with the audit.
And I still have copies of all the checkbook registers and the invoices. I have all that in my computer at home.
Do you have copies of the invoices?
Yep. I have most of
Okay.
it. Yeah, yeah. Tomorrow I'll make a point. I'll send all of that to you, and then any of it that helps is great. And if you don't want it, then it's okay.
No. I will take whatever you can give me, because that's what they're going to ask me to provide.
Yeah, I might be able to
with the,
recreate some of
for
it.
the audit.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. Well, I don't know if it'll be tomorrow or Monday, but I'll do it
Do
soon.
you know what happened with the parks? Because that we budget 45,000 and we spent 85
What was that? I couldn't hear this topic.
for the parks, the dog park and facilities that's out there. We
No,
spent
I don't know what that
85,000.
was.
Do you know why that happened?
But I don't know, but see, I'm still not clear which items go under which line. And so, but I'll pull all that stuff up and I'll try to look back and see if I can figure that one out. I don't remember us doing anything special
Okay.
at the dog park.
Okay, no problem.
So question about
Mhm.
the slide 74. We have a general reserve account at 1.5 million. Is that correct?
Yes.
So that's
So based
our,
on, if you recall, the last meeting that we had, I mentioned to you guys that there are two reserve accounts, and I wasn't sure where the funds came from. They were
Right.
just transferred into those accounts.
right. So we
And
combine
you
them, right?
instructed me to put both right to combine them. So that's what I did. So
Okay.
that's the total that are in the reserve account. They are not restricted to any particular thing. So basically you have $1.5 million to spend on repairing the roads, to do any major constructions or repairs or anything that you have to do in the district without taking into consideration this year income.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
And
Thank you
uh,
for straightening that out, because I know Lucas and I both were asking many times to get those numbers figured out,
Yeah.
and we never could get
So,
answers, so.
yeah, crazy that we have that much. I thought we had like a quarter of that coming into this new transition. Because I swear that Infomark
No.
told us that we had like $400,000 left. And I'm like,
Exactly.
I was doing all the math and I was like, there's no way. Like, and she was like, oh, for sure. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Except that we came in under budget a couple years, so that number should have been higher.
Right.
So now it all makes sense.
I'm
Right.
glad to hear this. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
surprising that we actually have that much money.
Well, I mean, what we've been doing, we
Right.
have all the individual line items for each category. And yes, some of those hit or miss or high or low year by year, and we tweak those. And then for the last few years, knowing we had how much the alleys cost and everything, we've been doing the reserve contribution that, yes, some things have pulled from reserves as the years has gone by, but not as much as we've been putting in. So yes, it's reaffirming to, hear that we have.
But the
a
Infomark had them in two
Right.
separate accounts, so we couldn't, yeah.
Maybe that's what it
So
was. that
you
only
have
saw
that
the one
money
account.
now. So even though you don't, I heard you guys complaining about the roads. That might be a great place to say, hey, we have this money, let us fix the roads so everyone in your community is happy.
So one question just about that, with the revenue coming in from people's tax payments, whether that's done in advance or from escrow or whatever, is there a portion just as far as like day-to-day operations that we need to make sure we're not getting being too spendy with that, just to make sure that we're clear on. Right. Getting funded, which is kind of a.
So what we're getting now we haven't started getting yet, but in the next few weeks, that's based on your current expenditure, what you're planning to spend for the next 12 months.
Right.
We are going off what was budgeted during your last fiscal year, right?
Right.
So when you went through the budget process with Infomarks, the numbers are what they are. It is possible that they might be significantly higher than what was budgeted or even lower than what was budgeted. So what I would recommend is that for the next 6 months, you don't overspend from the current budget, but we've used the reserve as your outside expenditure.
Right. And so when
So
we spend,
say for instance you want to spend on the road, you could say I need 500,000 just for the road. And we
Right.
know once that bill comes in, we're taking that from the road, from the reserve, and not from your actual operation budget for this year.
Yeah, the one year we did get in trouble with cash flow, but that was because of that VC1 parcel.
Dan,
Remember, we had to pay that money back.
Are you referring to what it takes to start each fiscal year?
Roughly, Joe mentioned that we've had issues in the past where, and I mean, if the payments start coming in toward the end of the year, it sounds like we're just now coming out of what would have been that dry period
Right.
of it's been so long since the
So
came in.
I feel like to keep in the bank account is typically 3 months. 3 months of bills, so we could next year average, or even this year, see what we get in the first 3 months of bills, and we could say, we always
Right.
this
So
in
next
our bank
year
account.
we
No-
can
No
do
ifs,
that.
ands, or buts.
Yeah, we're okay this year. It was because of that VC1 parcel when we had to pay the $350,000.
And there was also a year where the county withheld our payments, I think, at one time where they were waiting to give us some lump sums that were
Some are slower than others to give us.
yeah. Yeah, it was like
It's
it wasn't like we got it all in one chunk. It was like
Yeah.
chunked out over
Right.
multiple months.
The county normally waits the county will wait until like in the beginning they will hold for, because I'm sure people start paying money from October into November. You start getting money December, January, February, March are always your biggest lump sum that we'll get. And then after that, it just trickles down, and they might hold until they have a good amount to send to the account. But I'm hoping that the numbers that we have for this year matches or go as close as possible to what was budgeted for.
Right. And I think it makes sense to be on the conservative side as we go through this first year, get everything, tracked and, under our feet with PFM now. So, we've been trying to save and we have some savings. So that sounds good.
So just two more quick
Right. So
questions.
you have the savings to do some good work in your district going forward as much as possible.
Just two more quick questions. Just want to clarify. Our general checking account is 166 grand. That's where we spend our money for our day-to-day operations.
Yes.
Okay. And then the
So
assessment.
that's the amount of money you started October.
Right. And then the assessments
For October,
receivable.
so November bills will be that. Your
And then the
assessment receivable is what we're expecting
to come
from
in
the county.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. I'm clear now. Thank you.
Thank you, Verona.
Yep.
Anybody have questions or?
Let me know if you have any other questions, or if something happens, say you need a question answer tomorrow, you could shoot me an email and I'll respond to it.
Thank you, Verona.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No
All right,
problem.
next we'll move on to ULS. Unfortunately, Nick had an emergency. I told him anything you guys had, I would bring back to him. He broke out the proposals where you guys asked for the tree removals. Do any of those interest you guys?
What I meant to do before this meeting, but I ran out of time, was to add up all of his proposals, or not add them all up, but to see if we should maybe do a couple every 3 months or something out of there, but I didn't get to it. So we could spread them out and stay within our budget for the year with that. Right, yeah. But these are the, I guess we need to decide which things are most important to us, but these are the three that we had mentioned last month that we
Yes,
thought
ma'am.
were the most.
Should we pick one?
Well, I like those crepe myrtles out. I could drive past them all the time and I hate them.
Did you guys want to ask field services their opinion? You want to ask field services if they have an opinion on the three?
Well, I think we should just do all three.
And Samantha's shaking her head.
Square on. I wish we had some pictures, but
Yeah, I mean,
I know.
I mean, Nick's, wonderful, amazing, all that. But I feel it's definitely helpful having him here to just
Describe
educate.
them.
Yeah.
But he did all these last month.
Yes.
You just pulled out the tree removals that you guys requested.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to get cheaper if we wait. We've got the money right now. We're still within budget. And then I think what we should each do individually before the next meeting is go through the other ones that are still on the list, and each of us decide what order, and then we'll compare notes and throw dice or whatever that expression
Right.
is.
And he's answering, what we brought up last month and everything. It's a lot of money, obviously, but it's what we're what we asked him to do. He did all the work preparing it and
Right.
everything.
And it's our responsibility to keep these things up, so putting it off is just hurting us.
Agreed.
Okay. I will move to approve United work authorizations 196891, 194434, and 194491 in the combined amount of 25,159 and 50 cents.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Next up, so there's no report from Nick today. We'll move on to the Doggy Depot station. Julie reached out and stated she received a request for a doggy station between Five Oaks near the golf cart path on the house side of Five Oaks, just past Middlebrook, but before the lake's big sign.
Okay.
So there's one request.
We have, I think the count is 76 dog.
It's
Oh, go ahead.
it's past Middlebrook on Five Oaks, on the house side. It's on the other side. It's in between our roads. It's
No.
between Middlebrook and Feathercrest.
That's so close.
You don't support the doggies? I mean, it's we're on it. We're on it.
What's the pleasure of the board? Brittany says no. Joe?
Oh, I'm torn. I guess I say no.
Lucas?
I'd say yes.
Dan?
I mean, does tie go to the runner?
Well, either way, it's going to be a tied vote. We'll have to wait for Julie, who's going to say yes.
How far is the next one?
Jonathan, do you have any
I
idea?
mean, that's what I'm envisioning. That's why I'm confused.
It's a walk from Middlebrook to, what is that? Is it South Lake there? Is that the first one?
Okay.
Okay.
The consensus.
Advocate, if they're that close together, are you guys okay with people leaving the poop there because they're not going to clean it up because it's too far to walk?
No.
Well, I'm just playing. It was a request to Julie. I don't know how many residents.
Yeah, but you don't walk in the grass, do you?
Okay. I think it
Field
sounds.
Services says it's not that far.
Okay. And it sounds
Maybe
like
the one from across the street over to the other side.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like we do have, like you said, 70 something of them. I don't think we need to spend any more on this. Maybe it doesn't make sense to. I mean, can they be? They're bolted down, right? So they could just be. If we did a new pad, you could relocate one of them for less cost than this. If it is on the golf course side of the street where it's maybe more people, bikes and whatever. I don't live on that side. I don't.
But I mean, I'm
The
just speaking.
audience consensus.
I'm not speaking for Julie, but I'm speaking for the people that are on roads that have doggy, waste areas right outside their road, right? And so when everybody walks out of their path and they want to walk a certain way, there's a doggy station. Okay, there isn't for the people on Middlebrook. So I know that some people aren't, they don't care because it's not around their house, but everyone has a bias and everybody wants the nice things.
How about we table this until Julie's back?
That's fine.
With the addition of, could we find out the feasibility of just, if there is one that's nearby, can we move it into a more convenient location?
Well, it's
Yes,
not just this.
look into
expense,
it.
Then we're also have the additional expense of bags for it and for them emptying it.
Right. Well, if we're moving, then it was already being done.
If we're moving.
Right.
And for me to get to a dog thing, I have to walk on Primrose Willow.
Well, you live in a bit. You
Full
live in a lot
circle
of-
into the sidewalks.
All right. So next up, we have discussion regarding no trespassing sign replacement for the lake. If you guys are not aware, we had 2 people put motorized boats in the lake. I was called on a Saturday. I don't work on Saturdays. And the police, I told them to contact the police. The police wouldn't do anything because we do not have no trespassing signs. So
On Buck Lake.
Buck Lake Bay, somewhere.
What kind of boats were they?
They were gas boats, which is a problem. And I guess what ended up,
Did they do it from our
Jonathan
dock?
called me. No, they didn't. So they actually came from like another private piece of property.
Okay. Well, Yeah, because there is an actual boat ramp on the north side of Buck Lake, and that's how we have access to get any of our boats delivered or pull out for maintenance. So there is a real live ramp on that north side that we have zero control over. We have the lake is Harmony West property, and if it's a matter of enforcement needs to be done, then we have that interlocal agreement with them, and it would just be us needing to bring it up to
Notify them.
right that
Well,
hey, someone
I think the way that Jonathan explained it was that we're well within our right to have them removed. That's why law enforcement was called. The issue was that because we didn't have signage indicating that if you're on, you can be trespassed.
okay.
And so what I understood from Jonathan was if we had the proper signage, then they could have been trespassed or that they will be
Correct.
trespassed in
And-
the future.
And
Right.
okay, and
We put these signs.
I don't know, Jonathan?
well,
Oh, so
was that-
Jonathan, you said Jonathan said we had the right to kick them off the water. Is that
That's what I understood, that we could trespass them.
Yeah, we
without
can
the proper
trespass them
signage.
as long as we have the no trespass.
Right.
even if they came on from another side of that where you don't have property that we don't have rights on? We don't own the lake.
Yeah, who
Oh.
owns the lake? I'm sorry
Okay.
to interrupt, but it's
The-
kind of a legal issue.
right.
Um,
Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I said I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's kind of a legal issue that you're asking. And it's the first time I've been asked it. And if we don't own the lake, we can't enforce trespass against somebody for being on property we don't own. Certainly, you can have signs, entering to the lake from our property saying no trespassing on our property. But if we don't own the lake, that trespass
Right.
case is not going to hold up
Right. So
in a court of law.
where were these people seen that we were trying to remove them from? Was it on our docks?
No, not on our docks, just on the lake.
Okay, if it was on the lake, then yeah, that is Harmony West CDD property. We could put if having a sign would make it easier to kick somebody out on our dock that we say that they jumped the gate or whatever. It still sounds like there's maybe a deficiency here that we need some kind of signage to give us the ability to have somebody removed if they're on our property. But in this case, they weren't.
Yeah, that it was our lake.
Can you just speak on I was under the impression that gas boats weren't allowed on there.
Yeah, gas powered is not allowed on.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so-
correct. They were trespassing, but they weren't trespassing or violating rules that we enforce. It was Harmony West's property. It's up to them to enforce the
Okay, but
prohibition of.
What
electric-
about the type of boat it was
Yeah,
then?
that's
The
definitely not
specific
allowed.
application.
They could be removed for that, but we're in no position to do that ourselves.
But who made
was-
that rule that gas
It's-
boats aren't allowed? Is that a state rule law or is that?
I believe
something-
part of it was in the I wish Carol will sit here. It was in the PD originally that set out all the different property uses and everything. And when the county sliced up the original CDD and gave most of it, including all the land between with our nice bridges on it, to Harmony West, I'm a little steamed about that still.
Yeah.
That included giving Harmony West ownership of the lake, and it included the interlocal agreement to share costs for weed control and everything, and our residents have perpetual access to recreational use on the lake. But as far as who owns it, it's not us, so we can't trespass anyone unless they're on our dock.
Yeah.
That answers everything.
So all that's to say, and
to my knowledge, there's no access point for a gas boat to get to Buck Lake on our property.
right,
side.
it's through Harmony West or Harmony Central, whatever it is, property. And once it's on the lake, it's also their property. So
The same people that are parking on Five Oaks and leaving their trailers.
all that's to say, there is still, if it were someone on our dock that we wanted to remove them, we're still hearing that we don't have any signage. We would not be able to get law enforcement to respond. So do we still want to find out what it would cost to get some kind of no trespassing sign? So we do have that ability in the future.
So Jonathan, if someone was on our dock that wasn't a resident, so they're not on the water, now they're on our dock, but we don't have that signage up, can we trespass them then? Or we still need that signage
You
up?
still need the sign.
Okay.
Okay, so I think the direction would be, can we just find out what that would cost?
All right. Moving on to Berman inspection report or any updates from field services.
Yeah, so for this past month, we worked on some of the pressure washing. We started pressure washing on the gazebos and the pavilions.
We also worked on getting some of the urinals, closet kits repaired, and because we had a couple of them that were leaking. For the tower that's over here, I believe this is the east entrance. It was brought up on email. We began working on it, and we got one side working. We can't get the other side just yet. We still have some more troubleshooting. I believe Mary was the one who brought it up about it being so dark. So just, letting you guys know, we are working on it. We had to put that on pause just because we had some other issues arise, which I'll touch base at the end. We also finally completed the square. We did all the pressure washing there and some of the paint touch-ups. Managed to get all the boats cleaned, serviced, and are now ready to go. And also the dock repair has been completed.
Great, by the way.
The dog park's on Catbrier. We painted the columns and cleaned up the area and fixed the water leaks that we had there. And we also went through all the parks and got rid of all the bugs and bees and all that stuff that was kind of a thing. And all the trip hazards and the bars, of which I believe, Brittany, you were the one who brought it up once. And yeah, we also started replacing all the sink faucets in the restrooms because the battery powered ones are no good. We got the water back on at the garden, which I'm sure he's not here, Dan. He brought it up to us and we were able to fix all the water issues there. And we repaired one of the fence posts that was broken on Five Oaks, the white fence. And then as far as the concrete grinding, we've done 89 locations since last month's meeting. And we are currently working on the pressure washing. Now that was put on hold for a little bit because we started working on some of the parks that were brought onto our attention. So that kind of slipped. And then now we have the pool issue. So with the pool issue, there has been issues that have been long coming and finally exploded. So we've pretty much taken it all apart, cleaned everything, even as far as getting all the pipes cleaned out internally. Now we're having an electrical issue. So we had an electrician out today and that's getting worked on. So the pool will be closed for a little bit longer. And we're also working on a schedule to get back on the pressure washing and getting that completed.
Do you have a timeline on the pool?
No, because the electrical issue is a little bit tricky. So the electrician we had out today, he is going to come back with a better understanding of what's going on because we can't even find where the main power is coming from.
It's not good.
Okay. And this is a pump issue again, not related to the heater, correct?
No, the heater has been repaired. That's repaired, but we have it shut off because we can't run it without water. So
Right, of course.
burn out.
Were any of these other failures like self-induced by us trying to clean things or take things apart or?
No. So it all started with the first pump that was there that burnt out. We installed a new pump, got it working, and it didn't even last 24 hours before it completely burnt out. Thankfully, it was under warranty, so we got a replacement pump, and then the issue just got worse. So we got the electrician out, and then that's when everything started.
So is the third pump shorted out and burned out too?
No.
Okay.
No. That we were able to save that one.
Okay. I guess could you just give us weekly updates on this? Because it's very important to our residents that we get this fixed and for the board members to know what's going on a weekly basis.
Yeah, and I think the other thing we were talking about prior to this meeting, and we were trying to gather some information from some people, is if anybody has history of any large repairs maybe that they want to share with us, it would be helpful. One of the techs that's been here a long time said there really hadn't been much done besides just the, daily maintenance and changing of things. We're even running into an issue with, it appears the filters have never been fully changed ever. They've been cleaned because the size is a weird size to find. So we're trying to find new ones. They're not like terrible, but they've never actually been changed. They've been being cleaned. And that's what the tech that's been here a while told us is the history. We've heard it elsewhere. It just was a size. So we're trying to get these things done. But we also asked Lynn if there was history in any of documents she has. So anybody who has any history, I'd welcome it just to help us try and figure out some of these issues to kind of call the right people. I know Joe gave us, we're going to reach out to people that have done work on it in the past to see if they ran into something when they were kind of putting things in and maybe things are piecemealed or bandit or things we don't know about, but any history would be helpful as we try to sort through some of this.
Yeah, would have been the Spees most recently, right?
I found a letter in my files from 2023 and it was from Symbiont and it listed some of the repairs that they had made because they were saying that we should replace, like, was that the heater?
I think it was the heater.
Yeah, it listed the repairs and it said, you really, it's foolish to put any more money into
Right.
this.
And I believe we did.
Yeah.
And should have, I forget what the warranty period was, but that was my question earlier.
Yeah. And this is off topic, sort of, but not really. When we want to put a sign on the pool, I kept telling Jonathan, put a sign up. He doesn't have a printer. Shouldn't we get them a printer? What does the rest of the board think? And then I brought these sleeves so he can print a sign that says pool closed.
I think a basic printer is probably good for them to have.
Is there room for it in our current workspace?
Yeah.
Well, there's one there now, but he said it's like 20 years old. So
Yeah, if it's a matter of just replacing.
You can get them a printer. You guys are fine with that?
Those aren't expensive, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get you a
should
printer.
we put a price limit on it?
What's a printer cost? Like $200 maybe?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he just needs
Mine was-
stationary printing. I mean,
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah.
crazy.
Mine was 80, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can find something for
Yeah.
you. I'll spend less
I
than
got the kind,
150.
it's the cartridge, not with the inkwells. It's the cartridge.
And we'll need it's just basic because now we have all these QR codes, so we don't have paper anymore. So at least that's the good thing today.
Oh, yeah.
So those QR codes I left you guys it replaces the facility reservation form, the key card access form. It gives you a QR code to put in maintenance request, and then we're going to be using a boat check in and out form. So those are going to be posted up around Jonathan. I brought him a bunch of copies. They'll be on the website, and that way it'll send all of the requests into one place. It incorporates that new liability form. So
Oh, that made me
we'll
remember.
only need to print a sign when the pool's out.
One other thing, though, that I wanted to bring up is on the boat, when someone takes the boat out, and see, we don't own that website, that I forget where you make the reservation. And on there, it has an emergency number. After you make your reservation, it gives you the rules and what to do, and it has an emergency number to call. And that's Vincent's old number from way back. And someone else has that number now, and he keeps getting telephone calls from our residents when they're out on the lake. And he's been very nice about it. I can't figure out how to get that changed. I've tried even before you guys came on board. Could we just put a sign in each boat?
Well, I
with-
think we should hand out like a form to each resident. I could print them out and
Yeah,
and
and-
bring them to you.
Or
It
put
says
something
here,
permanent
yeah.
on the dashboard of the boat.
Yeah, if it's
Yeah, and on that under one of those QR codes, it says after hours emergencies, there's our 24/7 hotline to
Right.
call, and it
that number
forwards it to
should
them.
be on a placard on
Yeah.
the boat itself.
Yeah, but I think we should
because
put it on
Jonathan
the
said he
boat.
tried to change that boat reservation.
Yeah, and you
can't.
can. And if old fashioned people like me, we print this stuff out and take it with us. And so if I was out there and had an emergency, I'm going to pull out that piece of paper and call that number. So, and it could be scary. I was out there once when the wind came up out of nowhere.
Yep. I mean, getting some placards to have on the boats, that's going to be within authorization, what
Yeah.
we're allowed to.
Yeah.
I can
Okay.
handle that.
Yep.
Sorry to jump that in, but I just thought of it when you were talking.
Any other field services
I
requests
have
now?
one, yes. And I'll preface with saying, thanks so much, Jonathan. He's been awesome with getting back to my million things. But I just want to clarify, just so we're all on the same page and the process, I understand it, right? I know a couple weeks back, we had an incident where 2 residents had boat reservations. And when they got there, no one was there. I got in touch with Lynn, then I got in touch with you, and it ended up being fine in the end. Someone came, let them in, all the things, but what is the, how did that slip through, and how are we making sure that doesn't happen again?
So now I have my guys set up alarms now. I send them, so I'm the only one who gets the reservations at 1:30 in the morning. And then from there, I kind of get here and then set the guys out. That day I was on the main office, so I sent it out to them, but they didn't see it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
got
now
it.
I have them setting up alarms for it, and I myself call them and confirm
Okay.
it.
Reasonable enough.
I want one more question. I know we got a lot of things going on simultaneously. Is there a reason we should bring an extra body on to support some of the stuff that's slacking behind, like the sidewalks or other things?
If we want to catch up on a lot of the pressure washing, I think we have a pressure washing division, and I could, send an extra person out here. They have a much larger vehicle with much larger tank and could probably get more done, and we could give you a cost for that if it's something. Yeah, you want to
you
catch
did.
up to get it done back to a base.
Yeah, you did. You gave.
I
me
think
some-
the pool kind of threw everything off.
Yeah.
Obviously, and they're trying to grind the sidewalks and do all this stuff. So if we want to get it down to a base and then work on a schedule, we could do that if it's an expense you want to take on. And like Jonathan said, we're going to work to put a schedule back where we have one guy dedicated now every day to doing the areas, but to get it down to a base, it would be that cost.
Okay, I think
Let's
we
hear it.
entice that.
I have one other question. You've brought it up a couple times about the black edging around the flowers in the circles. And the board had them put that in a year or two ago because every time it rained, all the water and the wood chips would flow out. So, and no, I don't like the way it looks, but what should we replace it with?
You guys are changing the
It was around the flowers, and you keep mentioning in your review every month, your inspection report, about the ugly black edging. In the roundabouts, I guess they call them. If you look at page 99 of the agenda. However, the black edging remains visually inconsistent with the overall design aesthetic and may be reconsidered in future enhancements.
All right. So what's the thought with that?
Well, they keep telling us how ugly it is. And I don't know what it's fixed up.
I think it's just one of those things that it's not used most places. So, I mean, I could ask him what he recommends if you want something in there to hold it back. But I think a lot of I don't know anywhere else that
I know, but that's why we had him put it there. We had Nick put that.
So
in.
if you want it, we could leave it and stop mentioning it.
We got a negative comment. What's the suggestion to replace it with? What would it cost versus what's already there? And
I mean, the suggestion would probably be just take it out.
And just that's it. Something about the slope, everything was,
I'll ask him
Well,
what he wants to recommend.
There was a reason for putting it there.
Yeah.
If there's a way we can improve
I
it.
think they need to, well, if it's Nick, they need to go back around and re-push them down. Some of them are raised up and it is a little tacky, but I think it looks fine.
Well,
just
we
not.
authorized the big mulch spend last month. Lynn, do you know what the status of the mulch was? I mean, had they started?
Busy season typically is what I'm hearing, but I'll follow up with Nick on an update on mulching.
Right, because it would relate to this.
Well, that'll cover it up. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
And we did pull up I pulled it up here from the September agenda. For the pressure wash, it was a 7-day project, 8-hour shifts, 56 hours, totaling an estimated cost of $6,160. Just for us to think about.
I think we could consider that next month, see how things go.
6,160.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, is that like the one time cost
It's
or?
to catch up.
Yeah, it would take everything back down
Okay.
to base and then they could get on schedule to maintain and
I mean, at this point, this is an issue that multiple residents come up here and talk about every single meeting. Obviously, I already have heartburn, but for $6,000, we could just be done with it.
Agreed.
And a Merry Christmas to the lakes.
Let's do it.
Yeah, move to approve
Right,
spending.
motion by
Second.
Dan,
All right.
second by Brittany. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Oh my gosh, Joe, are you kidding me?
Oh, ouch.
Humbug.
All right.
Wait, I'm sorry. I have one more thing. For field services, which was the lights in the square for the flagpoles, right? We're not,
All right.
just because it's been something that's been brought up. We're like not following US flag code. They either need to be lit or they need to be brought down when the sun comes down. I know you mentioned that there's lights on there, but they're not operable.
Correct. So that is on our schedule for tomorrow morning.
I
Oh,
don't know
perfect.
how that, because we are a dark sky community. And so I don't know how we can have proper lighting on the flags and comply with the dark sky.
Well, I think it's,
It would have to be top down. It would have to be
Okay.
from above. So-
They have
right.
lights over it.
well, it's already on there and apparently we've been had it. They're just not working now. And then the other thing was there's really not that many outlets out there, but like 50% of them are also not working. Is there any that we can have those looked at?
Yeah.
Yeah, when the pool electrician comes. Kill
Thank
two birds
you.
with one stone.
That's all I have.
Any other field request? All right, moving on to staff reports, district council.
Yeah, just one item I wanted to talk to the board about. A couple months ago, there was a First District Court of Appeals case that ruled that Florida's statute providing that the open carry of firearms was unconstitutional. So that has an impact on how we deal with people who bring firearms both into our amenity facilities as well as to our public meetings. So at this point in time, there is no prohibition of the open carry of firearms. There is a prohibition that remains in place for certain what are called prohibited locations. And those would be government meetings, which this is a government meeting. It would also include bars, schools, and a few other different areas. However, because this court case came out and didn't really address all the different permutations of the statute, there's what's called a long gun loophole. And there's a split of opinion in the state in terms of whether or not somebody is allowed to bring a long gun, which is like a shotgun or a rifle, to prohibited locations. And that probably will not get resolved unless the Supreme Court hears that case or the Florida legislature acts on that. So what I will be doing is following up with Lynn, and we provided a memo to all the district managers on this issue, as well as your field services and your chairman on how we will address issues of firearms under this new world we're living in, both in your amenity complexes and your common areas, as well as at your district board meetings. So I just wanted to let the board know that that's something that happened in the First District Court of Appeals. Right now it is, binding until the Supreme Court of Florida, makes a different decision or the Florida legislature makes a different decision in the statutes. There was a bill that was proposed to eliminate the long gun loophole that I just described to you that would prohibit all firearms at the prohibited locations, including districts and meetings and schools and things like that. However, that has, we'll see how that does in an election year in Tallahassee, and I'll just leave it at that.
Thanks
And I have
for
nothing
saying-
further to report.
All right, thanks for staying on top of that.
Thank you. Next up, we have district engineer.
I got 3 quick updates and then 2 we'll have to discuss for a little bit. First update is the maintenance facility. The engineer informed me today that he'll be submitting all the permit applications by the middle of December to different agencies to kind of get that process underway. Dan, thank you for the name for Osceola County. I'll have Greg start calling them to get our RV storage lot and Garden Road up to speed again with the new guy that took over. So I talked to Lynn earlier this week about Dragonfly. I've asked if we can table that for the next meeting. I want to make sure that he's not literally scalping the shoreline of every single pond, because that brings forth a lot of maintenance issues and quality issues. So I think we're going to have a Teams meeting or a meeting with the Dragonfly and get a clear understanding. They're targeting cattails only, or are they literally going to scalp the entire shoreline? And that's what I want to try to avoid. So I asked her permission if we can table that till we talk to them. So. All right. The one big thing that came up in the transition between Infomark and the new setup, there was a gentleman named Brad who did the spraying of the nuisance species. Our wetland scientist went out there November 13th. She does this twice a year because per our permit, she's got to do an annual report every year to South Florida. And the goal is you're supposed to keep the nuisance species no greater than 5% of the area that we're monitoring. When Catherine went out there last week, it's taken off tremendously. And she's really afraid if we wait too long, if you remember, we spent like $300,000 2 years ago to kind of blast it and stay on top of it. So I talked to Lynn again, whether or not we draft a proposal to give to wetland firms that do wetland mitigation, eradication, to bring forth to you guys before it gets too far out of hand. Catherine already warned me that we're well beyond the 5% limitation and wants to get ahead of it before the growing season, which will be the spring and summer. So she'll be finishing the annual report in a couple months. She'll give me the exact numbers. But when we did this 3 or 4 years ago, we put an RFP in the street. And I think we got 3 or 4 vendors that do nothing but conservation area maintenance. And I may dust that off to see if we can get that put in the street with the board's permission before this gets too much out of control. So. And the last thing, you wanted a ballpark number on our fees. You may want to hold off on the printer for a little bit. Just kidding. Between $50,000 to $60,000, because those 4 roads you gave me are like 80% of the sidewalks. The little neighborhood ones are little pieces, but Five Oaks, as everybody knows, goes almost the entire length of development. Catbrier, Primrose, and Schoolhouse. And you look at a map that I had with me, it's like 80% of your sidewalks within the community. So if you want to take that smaller, I'll leave that up to you. Just did the quick math, 2 weeks in the field, maps, bid documents, cost estimates, and then bring it back forth for discussion how you want to prioritize the areas based on our findings. So
I gotta go back before we go into that. The RV and storage lot. Where do we stand with that progress? And then what's the timeline to get, I guess, the answers of what's needed to get that back up and running? I haven't been.
I'll say real quick. I dropped the ball on. I had action to give him that contact information, and I didn't follow up on that until this week. So
Okay.
that is, that was a person with account. Once they took over the golf course maintenance facility and convert it to mosquito control, I spoke to the county guy in charge of that to find out what kind of answers we might have for maybe being able to access the RV lot through that property. They weren't amenable to that, but they were amenable to maybe relaxing some of the conditions for fire trucks turning around for just going down the Garden Road. So the question for David was to speak to this person at the county. They can give an authoritative answer on what are the load bearing requirements that we would have to provide on the Garden Road to even start having the discussion of then reopening the rest of the storage area.
Okay.
And then we had things I was saying like landscaping, perimeter fencing, and some of that get dropped away.
Right. And yeah, and
Okay.
I mean, off the cuff, he had already told me that we could have as little as just the entranceway fence. We wouldn't have to fence the entire perimeter of it. I mean, there's a security argument for doing that, but if it's just too big a cost and we need to split up, maybe we just do the entrance fence now and then close it at a later date. So they were at least the county seems to be more amenable to relaxing the requirements, like not having a big hammerhead turnaround for their biggest fire truck or something, just for us to use it as a storage facility. We're getting those additional details on can the load bearing requirements be relaxed from the analysis that was done 4 or 5 years ago. To
Primarily
then,
the fire department.
right.
Right. Okay.
Did the gas company have something to say about
Yes,
that?
we got an easement from them a couple of years ago. They finally
Okay.
approved it based on our section now. But it's been a few years, 3 or 4 years. If the fire departments change their mind or the gas companies change their mind, because we put that in the street for bid maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
At the
Okay.
time it was a $4 million for a baby down version. So
Right. I know it was all complicated
Yeah.
when we went through all that.
Yep. But the situation has changed, so Dave's going to be
Right, yeah. The
Okay.
other thing is we do need to pay attention to how much it's all gonna cost, because I went through old minutes and old budgets, and there's already a couple $100,000 spent on that. And then annual income was only about $19,000. So,
yeah. I optimistically it wasn't going to be more than 30 is what the number I've had in my head.
right,
So
it's gonna
yeah,
take a long time to recoup the expense.
yeah.
I don't want to sink another couple $100,000 into
No.
it.
And then the sidewalks, when I envisioned Five Oaks, I was envisioning the roundabout at Catbrier towards Schoolhouse and then that little
well, if you're-
diamond.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I don't know if we need to do all
So,
of
I
it.
mean, Five Oaks, that's, yeah, a lot of those sidewalks are still pretty good. I don't
Are
think
both
there's
new.
much damage. So if the board's okay with that
I
kind of
was just having
assessment.
the same thought.
They'll take it down because that's a long run that I don't think is.
Right, right. That's not to say there might not.
Samantha, you asked about the pool. We used to have exact meeting minutes, not brief. That was a topic like every single meeting for over a year. So you may want to read through those to see what the report was in the filter, the pump, the issues they have with the electricians. They may give you some background, so. It was almost every month before we came to here. So, yeah, it was almost like a 2-year discussion.
right. 22 and 3, I think.
It was a splash pad issue as well.
Oh, the splash
Yeah.
pad.
Well,
yeah.
the splash pad, yes, that was a pain point for a very long time. You're covering your head. I mean, I know last time I drove by, it's been working, but the last state they got it to, and this is veering off topic, but it was just doing a static spray where it's capable and had a computer controlling it. They could do things like, patterns and whatever
But
and make it a little more
Make it dance.
fun, but
It doesn't dance anymore.
that's a can of worms if it's
Don't
there
bring
and
up-
it's running.
Really, really.
Don't bring it up.
I didn't bring it
Ain't
up.
messing with that one again.
It's purely FYI, so.
Right. So to the numbers that David just gave us, that would be the total to do everything, but that's the most of that cost is in those.
To lob off a big chunk of Five Oaks. I'm just guessing maybe it'll be 40, 40, 45 on.
And then we just said, let's just do it all.
If
$100 billion.
no, he said that
75,000 probably. I'm really guys,
This one.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's given us numbers to even
Yeah, just
think
got
about,
ballpark
right,
numbers,
right.
yep.
right.
Yeah.
And
Start now, we can plan and we're going to move forward and we're going to budget better and make sure that we have these things. So we know each year we're putting this amount of money into it. And if we have to spend more next year for him to do the rest, we have that in the budget with everything.
Easy
Right.
for you to
And
say,
that's
you
like-
weren't the one being hung.
right. And that's like his entire fee for the year, just for the, meeting to meet, month to month.
But now wouldn't that cost though of that go into the sidewalk part of the budget rather than the engineering part of the budget? Well, I mean, that's what makes sense.
Well,
We could pull the funds out and put it to
Because
the,
our engineering budget is for the routine engineering. This is part of the sidewalk procedure.
this can also come out of your reserves.
right. So the big picture question we need to answer is that there would be this cost for doing it, but that would make the bidding process more consistent and predictable, and I think reliable.
Exactly.
Versus if we just say, hey, here to here on this road, everyone give us a bid. It's going to,
You'll never compare it.
right.
Well,
I
I
mean,
like having David in charge anyway.
So
like, sorry.
Let's say that we decide to do it all
And in 3 years, we get to the last phase. Do you have maybe like a rough number percentage wise of what you can expect like the change to be year over year? Maybe there's typically like a 3%, 4%. I'm just wondering what the variance is going to be from here to 3 years if we did it all at once.
Construction cost wise.
No, I
Or
mean,
just
as
keep
far as
doing it.
Right. If we get a snapshot of everything now, but we don't repair everything now, it takes 3 years. By the time we get to that third year, it's going
there's
to
going to be some
alleviate
variance there, right?
this.
Yeah, I equate you guys like Mount Dora. They have a horrific problem. They love their oak trees, but they're fraught with broken pipes, broken curb and gutter, pavement issues,
Flooding.
Yeah.
flooding.
Yeah.
So once I get dots on the map, I'll know better how many trees are really a major issue with all this going on. And we'll kind of monitor what we did in Mount Dora. They will not take a tree down. They refuse to do it. We thought we could take the bigger ones down and move them behind the sidewalk so they don't keep breaking up the street and stuff.
Yeah.
But in Mount Dora, if you talk about taking trees down, you get shot. So
But I will say, I mean, David, I mean, tree roots do grow not very fast, but if we were to do this analysis entirety and we would, come back and maybe those analysis points wouldn't be still valid. Maybe it would, it'd go over the limit of, 4 inches versus 3, right? So I feel like if we did it in piece chunks and phases and did the analysis on portions of them, then we could address them when we want to get them done instead of doing the entire analysis on things that potentially wouldn't do at one time.
we can try to call it moderate versus severe. The moderate ones can wait a while. The severe ones will be. So we'll try to make that judgment call in the field. So to answer your question specifically, let me walk it first before I give you a ball. If it's going to be 5% or 10% constant maintenance obligation to stay on top of it.
So where does that put us?
They can either give you a proposal next month, a detailed one that you can approve, or if you want to give me an hourly not to exceed to hit the field or, right after Thanksgiving on whatever 2 roads you want to pick now, to get started.
I do think that we need to have a little bit of a sense of urgency. The holidays coming, it's already going to really delay things going into the new year. And this is such a big issue. So I'm kind of torn, guys.
I mean, I can start chipping away at our district engineer services to get started. And then we can replenish it, whatever you want to replenish it. But otherwise, if we wait a whole month just to approve a number.
So if we gave you a not to exceed number, would you be able to have an RFP before the holidays of Christmas?
Depends how many roads you're doing.
Well, I'm just thinking, I mean, Schoolhouse Road and then 5 Oaks from the roundabout at Cat Briar down to Schoolhouse. And maybe the road that Joe.
I think Primrose Willow is the oldest sidewalk in Harmony.
I would say by the latest January.
Okay.
With the holidays and all my staff's comings and goings, I
Okay.
hate to promise you something.
I think we could get it out in January.
Yes, yeah.
That was my goal, is to bid it as soon as I had the map.
Okay.
Me and David work on the RFP. For me, your district manager, I manage over 13 myself, and sidewalks are a high priority.
Yeah.
From insurance claims that we already have open, the amount of complaints I get, we have to bite the bullet one way or another because it's your due diligence to the Harmony CDD is to keep up with them. And the more we keep waiting, the more trees are just destroying, and we still have to face the problem.
Well, I do have a question. So there are several sidewalks that I think should be fixed tomorrow, and I don't want to wait for an RFP for them, but I'm a team player, so we'll do that. But is it cheaper to do it in the RFP? How much cheaper is it than to move forward, let's say, with the 50 worst ones right now?
Well, sorry, go ahead.
So you don't want to keep having people come out and come out and come out. It's not efficient time. You're paying for their mileage, their travel time. Come on out here and camp them out here and knock it out.
But they can't camp out here if they can't park in here.
We'll find a spot for them.
Well, no, because our landscape contract would be about 2/3 of what it is if they had a place to park their equipment when they come. They have to take it out of here every night.
We'll figure that
All right.
the mobilizer site. But yes, it is far more cost effective to do it all at once. But if you guys have some really hideous ones you got to knock out, then do what you.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just a hammer on this because there's some people that live on Primrose Willow and they had a really bad sidewalk and we hired a company to fix it. The company came, the guy lives on a corner lot and they fixed the sidewalk on the side of his house instead of in front of his house. He's 88 years old and his wife uses a walker and they can't go out on their sidewalk. And I feel really bad because I told them we were going to fix it. A company came out, he went out there and he said, "You're doing the wrong one." They said, "Nope, this is what's on our list." And now he's going to, if we don't do Primrose Willow, he could be waiting 2 years to get his fix. So that's why I'm so excited. Excitable, what's the word I'm looking for here? I'm being a pain in the neck, I know it, but I want his sidewalk fixed.
I respect it. I respect it. I think so, like as a board, are we all, do we all think that we should make the investment in the engineering here and get that analysis done?
Yeah.
Is that what everyone's sort of leaning towards?
That's where I'm leaning in that will give us, we'll be able to make better decisions with what work needs to be done and by whom and in what order. As right now we have, someone told me this, I saw this, I tripped over here. Getting a snapshot, that'll be a line in the sand that everything can be referenced from going in the future. My only other thought, we keep bringing up, reserves and all that, which we have, and that's great. We mentioned last month in relation to, delaying the maintenance facility or whatever else that we want to do a reserve study at some point. I can't remember if the one we did previously included sidewalks versus that's. But I think the sidewalks, yes, absolutely a high priority, a safety issue that's, limiting our liability. We need to be addressing that. But before we say, okay, we have the reserve, let's do everything. I want to make sure we're still, do you have anything to, any progress report on a reserve study or what would be involved with doing that?
Right. Are you guys ready for it? For me to go out and get proposals? I know they are expensive. I mean, I can go out and get the proposals and bring it back.
I think it's holding us up on making other decisions on other improvements that we
Well,
want to know where we stand.
During supervisor request, I have a paper I was going to hand out to everyone tonight with all of my ideas. So I don't bore you all and you can all read them. But on here it said, should we get together and have a special meeting and decide what things need? And I think we already have one to base. Now we can hire it out, but it's expensive. But I think we could come up with the preliminary because we know what needs to be done. And we could take the one that we have, which I have a copy of it here somewhere, and build on it. And then we could each do that before the next meeting and come in and combine our ideas and see where we stand.
Right.
It may not work out for us, but we could try that first.
And we did a workshop in the past, I think, after we got that first.
Well, that was the thing. Other thing is I thought, oh, do we want to do a workshop,
So sorry, pull back to the question on the floor right now is, do we want to approve David to do this work for scope wise, the entire neighborhood, or trying to select it piecemeal?
No, I think we should start with Schoolhouse, Five Oaks, and Primrose Willow, Five Oaks up to Catbrier Circle. And because I think our RFP, if we get a good company, then we use them again. But what if we get another one like messed up that guy's sidewalk? We don't want to be stuck with them for forever. So I kind of like the idea of having
Why don't I suggest not to exceed of 35,000? Let's start blitzing the floor and then see if we can pull together something quickly for Lynn to put in the street for a January RFP.
I'm all in favor of that. I think that sounds great.
And that's not, that's a smaller portion of the sidewalk budget. It is directly applicable to sidewalk. So I think
well, that's where most of the bad ones are.
Right. And I don't think we're, running afoul of anything if we're saying we're using sidewalk budget for, yes, it's spending on the engineering, but it's for this specific.
Well, it has to be done to have it to get a good RFP and to attack it properly.
Right. Samantha has her hand up. What do we got?
All right.
Just a suggestion. I just went through this with another board. Everybody was very hesitant on doing it. They thought it was going to be a very huge project. So they appointed one person on the board who rode kind of with us. We went through, made a list, identified, brought it back, the board agreed yay or nay on it. And then we put it out for an RFP. We had, you know, the vendors kind of split it up into phases based on mobilization. And it turned out to be a lot less than everybody thought it was going to be based on what we found. But they did just put one person in charge and make that decision from there. I'm not trying to take away from what he's doing, but that's how kind of they've handled it. And I have another board getting ready to do the same thing essentially, because it sounds like you guys are kind of all on the same page and know the areas. So
Thank you.
just throwing it out there. That's how I've seen now. We're on our second board.
Yeah,
doing
so
that.
I had literally asked Lynn, so if we, what's the, in layman's terms, what's the disadvantage of not going with that, right? And so it would be that you don't have an apples to apples RFP because each company is going to come out and do their own evaluation, and some are going to say this needs to be grind, some are going to say that needs to be completely broken down and report and whatnot. So the alternative would be then, which sounded crazy, was, well, then somebody has to walk with each of them and kind of do it. But to save 45 grand, I know I'm willing to kind of help with that process.
Then then you're just targeting grinding. Mostly.
No, not necessarily. I think the idea was, and maybe I'm wrong. I think the idea was, let's say we're putting this, we can do it with field services, and kind of go through those streets and anything like we can, whatever that number is going to be, whether it's a lip above 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, anything below that can be grinded. Anything above that needs to be
Cut and cover.
completely redone. And that way we have a baseline so that we can have RFPs that are more apples to apples, but maybe without the 45,000 engineering cost.
Well, yeah. So we'd be shifting the effort from here's what the engineer would cost to do it with his firm versus doing as we're saying in field services is saying, you know, their version of that analysis, assisted by volunteer time from a board member. I think doing that analysis is important, and if we're comfortable with it being field services and thorough, I mean, and we have just from previous engineering hours we spent, we have this map, so we have a baseline. We're not really discovering. We already have a baseline of what the CDD owns and how big it is. And then just to have field services go and do that analysis. I can't volunteer that time myself, but what does everyone else think of?
What I may suggest, if you're going to do that, and I'm whatever the board wants, I'll have my guy do blow-ups of each street with addresses. So as you're walking, it's because you're not going to do the handheld unit and photo locate and stuff like that. So we would take these maps, we'll blow up Cap Briar, blow up Schoolhouse. So when you're walking with the addresses on the map, whatever notes you want to make to give to the vendors, that's another option. So
right, the outcome being that we're doing the analysis separate from the bid, and we're giving that same analysis to everyone to bid consistently against. So yes, that's a much smaller ask of engineering just to give us that kind of blown up map. I don't know if we need to. I like that idea. We're still having engineering kind of guide us by providing the blown up versions of this map, but we're still then taking field services up on the offer of going through that entire map and doing that analysis so we can have consistent bids.
Is that going to be free or we have to pay for that?
Right. We would be right. We would be taking whoever that is.
It sounded so long and involved, so I thought
it's. Well, hold on. So we want when we do RFPs, we want to have the analysis done beforehand. David gave us his rough numbers for his firm doing it. I thought what you're saying field services could do is go through with a board member and basically do something similar, just tallying up thoroughly and
correct. And you would use that as your basis when you're going to bid. Here is what we want you to bid. You're telling the companies this is what
so we're still
the RFP is.
We're still doing bids. I guess the cost then is it's taking away some field staff from other duties But that's,
It wouldn't be the staff here. It'd just be him riding around with someone.
okay.
Edgar would come out here and ride around. He did it with Myrtle Creek, so he can do it.
Yeah.
I'll take their notes. We'll put them on a map, do a bid form, and you guys can request proposals, RFPs. So
Just an option, obviously.
But
just-
that's
I mean, I'm obviously for that.
Yeah,
I'll tell you the criteria, all the cities.
That would be great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm for that. Seems cheaper. I just want to make sure we get a good quality analysis on what needs to happen and not some
Right.
oh this I don't know what to do there
We
because I haven't done
have
it
a
before or yeah. So I just want to make sure we get good quality analysis that we identify what exactly needs to get done and not some
Yep. And Berman's
We-
saying they've done this recently.
We still have
sure,
all
I'm
the
just stating it
information.
out that no, I'm sorry.
Well, and I think you're going to see too, when you put the RFP out, because what we saw is that we had, there was a couple areas where maybe the board member said, I don't think these need to replace, but all the vendors said, I know you don't want to do this, but all the vendors agreed that area needs to be done. And that's where you kind of go, okay, if 20 people bid it and they're all saying the same thing,
Joe, any other thoughts?
Well, we do still have the proposal from Precision if we want it, and they made a map and listed all the spots that they could do or the sidewalks that could be shaved, that system.
Mhm.
So that's all in our minutes, that whole proposal, and we have a printout and it shows all the places where it was too high for them to do because they only did I call it shaving.
Grinding.
Yeah, but they had a special tool, so it was a little different. And then, and they're still available to finish out because they proposed the 3 streets, right? Cat Briar, Five
Yeah,
Oaks,
yeah.
and
Right,
Schoolhouse.
but not exhaustive. And the point of doing this would be we'd have something exhaustive, so we could still subdivide it based on how much work is determined that needs to be done. But this is just we're doing a big effort, and it sounds like there'll be some guidance from engineering to give us the maps and criteria. It'll be field services and one of us actually going through and just pallet by pallet documenting where we have these work that needs to be done. So that will become the product that goes out for bid.
Yes, but you could use
Be from Precision.
the
could be
other
from
one
what?
you could add to their.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we could give that same, I mean, yes, Precision's already worked with us, but I think in the spirit of we're trying to be thorough about this, we would give them the same RFP that.
The map that Precision already did.
And add to it, yes, use it as a baseline.
I like,
Map that David's gonna give us, use the map that Precision's gonna give us, and then kind of come up with our own findings, and then we can all sit down as a board together and review the 3 and see what makes the most sense.
well, this is a map for the entire, all the sidewalks that we own. That's what we're hearing from field services, and that's going to cover the entire, so the small sidewalks through, in Birchwood. This is a more, a lot more on the west side of the
I
neighborhood than
think
the
we
east
should
side.
stick with those first 3 streets.
I think we have a good approach with field services.
drive it all and
Yeah.
then go from there and go, okay, we
Because-
want to do it in phases. So when you put it out to RFP, you could dictate however you want the RFP to come in,
Right.
right? You could
We
say
don't
you want it
have
over
to-
3
We are
years,
gonna
2
start
years.
budgeting for next season, so.
Right.
We're not saying,
No.
right, we're not saying we're doing all the work at once, but we do all the analysis at once. And then yes, if it takes us 3 years, then by the time we get to that 3rd year, it might be a little stale. But for the purposes of starting the major project of fixing our sidewalks, we do all the analysis of all these sidewalks using the data provided by David, but you taking field services up on their offer to go around. Yes, the 3 roads that we know are problems, but all of them. And the outcome might be that yes, those 3 problem roads, those still are the ones that we do first. That's still very likely to be the outcome. But I don't think we should limit if we're doing all this effort to mobilize everything and thoroughly document part of it, we should thoroughly document all of it, since we're not spending engineering hours, but we're spending field services hours.
Just Brittany hours.
Yeah, well, I kind of agree, but if we do the entire sidewalks, it's going to take a lot longer than doing the 3 that we want. And if we want to get those RFP'd out and get quotes for them.
Well, if it's us in field services, so start with those three, but then don't stop. I mean,
Right, but what I'm saying is after we get done with those three, let's
Can-
get an RFP
Can
out
we
for
get
those
back on with
roads
those 3 streets?
and get those done, because if we
That's
do
what
all
we
the
do.
analysis, it's going to take the entire month probably, or
Yeah.
half a
Oh,
month or whatever.
We could definitely keep going, but
Um,
I tend.
But I still want to get an RFP out for those 3 roads by January.
yes,
I don't want to.
I don't think anyone's saying no to that.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure. That's why I'm making a statement.
Okay. So as far as we're after 8 here, as far as direction for, we'd like, either way, we'd like you to provide that documentation. I don't think it's going to make a,
Give Brittany and whoever Samantha wants to draw the short straw. I would recommend you walk it, not drive it.
Well, yeah.
And also, if any other board member wants to take on another one street, I can take, I mean, I'll do all 3 of them if no one else is available to. Oh, I'm just doing it all. I'm crawling it too.
well, I mean, the starting point was, here's what would cost David's firm to do it. And that would be hands off. That would be, professional, consistent and everything. We have through field services, a less expensive approach. I mean, yes, we should start with those. And yes, the bulk of the sidewalks are on that, western half of the neighborhood and everything. But we should at least start the effort. And if we get 2 weeks into it and we're still working on those first 3 roads, then we know, that it's going to take longer. But we start with those roads.
Get the maps ready. I'll give them to you, Samantha and Brittany. You guys can decide your
Great.
Okay.
shoes.
And you guys also need to decide if you guys are okay with my evaluation criteria that I worked on with David and district council.
I do not have a problem with that. It heavily focuses on cost, but also has, the other factors in there. David, do you think with what with this information you would be providing, is it a large difference of just doing that for all versus doing it for a reduced set of roads? Like if we're used.
Samantha's representatives and bring these. I can give you a street at a time. I mean, it's going to take you a couple days to do
Sure.
each
Well,
row.
20 miles.
So as you giving the markups or whatever, the symbols, if you want to use a 1 for this and 2 means this, we'll populate the map. We'll keep track of the quantity, which is just taking a picture.
Okay.
On the document, and then we'll compile the bid documents. And I'm going to say, guys, you got enough on 5 Oaks to hit the street now.
Yeah, yeah.
You're working on Primrose.
Right.
Okay. So do we need a motion for any of that? I mean, I think we've defined what process we want to use.
Authorization to proceed with advertising the RFP and the evaluation criteria as presented.
Okay, so I'll move. Yeah, so moved.
Second.
Favor say
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Well, that's just agreeing on the criteria that will go onto the bid.
So can the RFP go out when they're done walking? Or do they have to come back to us?
No, that's
Need to go out.
no. If it's ready, but it might not be ready before the next meeting. So
Yeah. Bid documents.
Right.
Without the RFP.
Yeah.
Package that will come from his district engineering. I do need his help on his scope, for sure.
Yeah.
The only other thing I have.
Microphone. Yeah.
Our next meeting is December 18th and we will need to have that. So I just want to make sure 3 of you guys are in town. Okay. The only thing that we need to consider is we'll need to select an auditor. So if we need to move the date, I just need to do it, sooner rather than later. We need
Okay.
3 in person.
I'll be here.
I'm a maybe. I might be on work
We'll
travel.
be here.
Okay, so we'll find out from Julie.
Okay, so I'll confirm with Julie. If not, we'll move the date because we do need to select an auditor. Mike, there's nothing we can do outside of a meeting, right?
That's correct. It has to be ranked by the board and selected.
All right, now I will call for supervisor Quest.
I just got back from New York City and I'm going on a cruise. I'll be back for Christmas. No, my granddaughter's birthday. Yeah. Okay. I have a copy of our old reserve study. Anybody wants to make a copy of it with their phone? At least it gives us a starting point, And then I often have ideas of things. And then we get close to the end of the meeting and everybody's brain is fried. And as you can tell, I get very frazzled and I'm not much of a public speaker. So I wrote down everything and I'll just read it briefly. But if any of my fellow supervisors think any of this is worth considering, we can put it on an agenda at some point. One thing I wanted to bring up is we mow the median on 192 in front of Harmony. And that costs us money. And I don't see any reason for us to continue doing that. At one time, when they were trying to sell houses in here, we wanted to make sure it was kept up very nice, but we don't have to do it. We could turn it back over to the county. To turn it over to the county, we have to remove that little bit of landscaping.
It would be
And-
the state, right?
Huh?
That's a state highway, right?
Or state, yeah, but I think the county,
Okay.
I made a copy for everybody.
Thank you.
And then the other thing that I have on here is, about the large red sculpture, if we want to revisit that. Our rules and regulations are out of date. And so if we have a workshop to do the reserve study, maybe we want to review the rules and regulations. And I go back and look in the minutes and try to find things, because like the tree trimming issue, I went back and found all that in the minutes, what was decided by the previous board. They actually had a workshop and did that. And I'm thinking it'd be nice if we had a folder. I'm sure Lynn and Berman would love to have all of that stuff consolidated in one place. And I have been trying to pull some of it together. The one about the county, you already had, you can skip that one. And then I'm wondering at the meetings, since we don't have a large audience anymore, could we all sit in a circle so we can see each other when we speak? I think I understand things better when I can see people. And, but that's just my idea. Lucas has to wear a mask. And it makes it more of a conversation where we're actually discussing things, especially I sit in the middle and I have degenerative discs in my neck. So this is, and, and then I don't know, there's the turret and that building at the swim club. I don't know if anything's being stored in there. I know that I think at the tower at the east entrance, there's that one room, there's a doorway at the bottom. And I don't know what's in the shed at the dog park. And I don't know if anyone else knows, but I think that's something we should know.
We gave the HOA permission to store.
The Christmas stuff, but is that the only room in there, the only space? Okay, and one empty, okay. I didn't know if there was something up above. And at the swim club, there's that big turret. And I thought, well, maybe there's an attic up there. So I thought I gave you one. Oh,
I don't know about that.
yeah.
The building at the swim club, is there like an attic there?
The building at the swim club where the bathrooms are, and there's a big second story, like a turret, where Rapunzel can let her hair down.
I have never
Gone up
looked
there.
in there.
And the other thing in there is that the bathroom, for parents or whatever, and I don't know if we have to keep that by law, but that would be a nice storage cabinet also for supplies and things, Oh, and the other thing I forgot to put on here, but I have never seen a young child playing in the kiddie pool. I've seen older kids go in there to play, but do we want to consider turning that into like a little picnic area or something? Because that pool is a lot of upkeep in the summer and it's hard to keep up. But anyway, and I don't have any preference on that. It's just an idea. And, when we see the bills, I don't know what they're being assigned to on the always. I mean, some of them are obvious, but I would love to have a chart. I don't know if the other board members would like that, but, where they get put in our financial statements. And then, and then we also probably need to, at some point, figure out with our reserve money, do we want to delegate some of it to be saved for the future towards this item or that item? And it would help give us some direction when we're trying to figure out what we can afford to do and how much of it now. And would it be I don't know if the rest of the board, I really would love to have a synopsis after each meeting. Just a few words, passed, tabled, or defeated. What meeting notes?
Right, but that comes out.
They don't until the next
Right.
meeting.
If to interject real quick, if we went back, I think 4 or 5 district managers ago with Infomark, Chris and I think it might have been, yes, after each meeting, then in the next day or two, just sent out. It may be exhaustive, but it was action items that you said you would look into this. I will be getting bids for whatever. Just not the detailed minutes and everything.
It was just a little checklist.
Right. So like I had the thing where I was supposed to send something to David. I was remembering and then it wasn't and didn't get, done until this week. So that's putting more on Lynn to. Yep.
Well,
yeah.
we need a volunteer from the community to do that.
Take better notes. Yeah. Yeah.
And then we have contracts with OUC for convenience lighting, and there's a buyback program, and I don't understand any of it, and I don't even know if you have copies of those contracts. But I would like for us to figure all that out. I don't know if anybody else cares about it, but a lot of the light poles we paid for some of them, and we're still paying for some of them, and that all happened before I came on the board, and I don't really understand it all. Some of them we pay electricity. Well, I mean, we always pay for the electricity, but
right. And there were leases.
Supposed to be paid off at some point because that will help us preparing for the future.
Right. Well, there were leases for, and the board kicked up the budget and bought out those leases, and it was a higher expense short term, but then to just have them not be paid maintenance every month. So
right. So, but we do pay maintenance every month.
Well,
$1,000.
The budget for that. So I would just like to get that so I understand it, and I'd like to see those contracts. But if nobody else, I mean, I'm only one person, so I don't have to have
right.
everything,
And the historical minutes should have that.
I can't find
manager was
it over and over and over again.
Okay.
And when Raul, I called OUC, I was on the phone with them for hours. They didn't know what I was talking about. And some of our bills have addresses on them as a service area that don't exist. And one of them is 0 Crispin Circle. Now Crispin Circle's on Harmony West, but I know the electricity is here because it's for one of our convenience poles, but still I just like things to be right and cleaned up. So if no, I mean, yeah. And then the same with the Toho bills. I had been tracking all that, and I don't know if we want to continue to do that and try to get the refunds or if we just want to let it go. And that the biggest thing is communication with the residents. And when I first came here, I was so excited when we got that new website, which of course turned into be duffing because I thought we'd be able to make announcements about what was coming up and maybe talk about, oh, well, we're going to, get a bids to fix the sidewalks, just things to keep people informed. And since we're not supposed to use Facebook, I don't know how we're supposed to tell the community anything. So maybe we could have a quarterly newsletter if anyone's interested, or maybe even a flyer once in a while, like every 2 months. I'm sure I'd pay for that out of my pocket.
Joe, even the HOA sometimes uses those bulletin boards. I know by the townhouses, maybe even something like that.
We actually,
there's one on the square that Field Services has put stuff in the past. Right. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, right. But
well, he has sent them out for us before, but we don't like to impose and ask him to do too much. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
We could explore that option, but for us to have the control, I think I really like the idea of maybe like a bulletin board announcement.
We actually considered putting one
Yeah.
Right. And
No, it's just a matter of like inconveniencing another party, but I do think that there should be more of a.
But we have to be careful on that because anything the CDD sends out is subject to open record law. And if people haven't signed up to receive it, that's why
right. And that's why we would go through the HOA, because they do have permission to do those email blasts. Right. They said, I give you permission to email me.
Oh,
Right.
okay. All right.
Right. And I think with the website, the ability's been there, but if we're not being proactive with put this update on the website, yeah, it has to.
Well, they do because they're on Facebook all the time. That's
And we're on time, just so
Right,
everybody
yes.
knows.
Yeah. But at any rate, I'm just trying to brainstorm an idea of a
Yeah.
way for us.
I
like
love it.
It's been about the pool, and I
Yes.
know there's enough kids in this neighborhood who would love to earn $5 and go around and put flyers on people's doorknobs, and I'll pay for that out of my pocket because I know the CDD can't pay.
I wanted to
Yeah.
give one update. Nick said mulch is going in on December 8th.
Okay.
And then he clarified on his proposals, not all those were tree removals, but they were the 3 high priority areas, just so you guys are
Yeah.
clear.
Good.
All right, there's no further.
The Alamo,
Go ahead.
it was brought up by a resident. We have that pavilion that's on, I think, where Schoolhouse turns on the Oak Glen. So just past the roundabout going back toward the estates. There's that pavilion that they just cleaned up and put a picnic table at. Yes, we had the whole discussion about doggy pot, but if can we find out what would be involved in having a trash can put there? So that pavilion, I'm not saying we need to roll it into our amenities and reservations and everything, but if there were a trash can there, that would be more usable to residents. So can we have field services just, whether it's something we already have in our inventory or what kind of new build would be involved in doing that?
Yeah, well, I can get you a quote for another trash can.
Okay. And my other one was, I know I mentioned the lakes sign along the road. They're doing all that construction now. So I imagine we're not able to do much about that, but it is on our property and it's an eyesore. Just to keep that on everyone's radar as the construction moves on, that we should do something to clean that up. I think that's it for me.
Oh, I did have one other
Oh,
question.
Mike. Oh, Mike.
I know, but this one's important. Is Rose going to come back and fix that drain?
Yeah, you're talking about the inlet, yes.
The inlet? Yeah. Okay.
I have to work some scheduling with him on coming out and getting it repaired.
All right. Is he going to remove the concrete out of the residence grass?
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else? Move to adjourn.
Second.
Oh,
Aye.
thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Mike.